And we're back. We're back in here, everybody. How we doing? Welcome to a Sunday night special we're doing tonight. Yeah. So, uh, yeah. Hey, for everyone that's tuned into this all week, you know what's been going on. Um, it's been interesting. It's been really interesting. And we've been covering the Rittenhouse trial, and along with that has been a deeper dive into everything that kind of led us up to, and by us I mean uh, the co-host of the show's segment, this evening segment. Um, uh, sorry, I'm getting messages here. Andrew Mercado from Mercado Media, and we had so much leading up to getting us to Kenosha that just almost like it's like a no, I don't want to say serendipitous, almost like a calling, like we were drawn to Kenosha. But I'm going to bring Andrew on here, and I know that you guys all know him from his show over on Mercado Media. He's also been covering the the trial. Um, and again, we're going to maintain a high standard of communication in our chat, based off our personal views and opinions of people. We guys remember that we're here to share in dialogue and discord that's going to be understand, like, educational, and I'd like to be uplifting. That'd be great.
Give me a
But
second, CJ. Don't bring me on yet. Just
no
keep
problem.
rapping. Keep rapping.
So when I say that, what I want to be clear about is that no hate speech, no promotion of violence. We're not going to sit and defame anyone else or spend our time trying to focus on running anybody else into the ground. Um, so that being said, I know that
Keep
we've
going.
had a lot going on this week. The Rittenhouse trial, and I know we got people tuning in from all over. So big, why don't you throw in the comments here where you're tuning in from? I'd love to know where everyone's dialed in from on a Sunday night. I know it's a lot to ask for a Sunday evening to tune in and and chill out. But again, it's Sunday night. Let's keep some positive vibes. I know what we're going to be covering is sensitive issues. It's touchy topic. You know, what I mean, for not just Rittenhouse. I mean, a lot of the things that are peripherally involved with a lot of the protests and riots, people have a very personal attachment to. Obviously, if it's in your hometown, somewhere that you grew up in or that you know very well. But beyond that, as a human, we have things. Man, people are in from all over the place. We got a lot of Canada in here. Yeah, so good looking out. Share the stream out, guys, if you would, please. Appreciate that. That way we can get as many questions in here as possible. I know a lot of people have questions. I'm sure they got questions for me and Andrew, based off me and Andrew. But we're moving into the big picture here, guys. Into the big picture of what's going on here in the world. We've seen a lot of stuff with Kenosha with the trial right now, and I know that there's been a lot. I've had a lot of questions. Excuse me, about what my thoughts are on the outcome. And honestly, like, I leave it to the reckoning of the jury. They have their work cut out for them. I can say this though, I feel like prosecution is doing a phenomenal job for the defense, and and I know that for me personally, it's frustrating when you see somebody or something that's not being properly represented, and I feel that with this, there's a need for due process, but in that, you got to have all the facts, you have to have all the players in place.
Keep going, CJ.
With that being said, you guys remember what happened on Friday. So if you guys saw the article that was put out, and some of the hoopla around Friday, it's funny because people are like, oh, you're you're working for the defense. And I was like, no, I work for myself, CJTV Media. But what I do push for is an equal trial. I want to see all facts brought into the consideration to give the jury the ample amount of opportunity to make a verdict call on what they want to do here. Not what they want to do, but what they're going to collectively agree on, the fate of Kyle Rittenhouse. And if you guys know, so Kyle Rittenhouse right now is looking at a life sentence for one charge and up to 165 years for the combination of other charges, as well as a potential for 9 months in jail and a $250 fine. None of that really matters, the little stuff, but I mean, so we're looking at an entire life right now. life sentence. That's a big deal, you know. And so like these folks got their work cut out for them. Man, I can tell you right now, the there's been some comical situations that have come up, and the severity of this, you know, the seriousness of the nature of what we're watching. There's been some things that I've had to cut my camera and turn off the mic because man, it just got me laughing. But a lot of the questions that are coming in about being subpoenaed, no, I'm on the list. I'm on the witness list, and that goes for as a witness for the case, mind you. Everyone has to sign off on these things, right? So I don't know who for what side, whatever it might be. People are assuming that I'm that you pledge an allegiance to one side or the other in these situations, and really, you're called on to give the information.
All right, CJ, I'm ready whenever you want to bring me on.
You can give it. That being said, I think you've actually been in here the whole time, Drew. Now that I think about it, but here, so we're gonna bring in Andrew Mercado right now, and get a chance to say hello, and we'll keep this running. So, what's up, Drew? How you doing, man?
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. Sunday night, feeling feeling a full day of what I'd like to say is rest and relaxation. But I went out to cover a story today about vaccinations, the big vax, which we're not allowed to talk about apparently in the world. Right. But it was about the youth vaccinations, how they've opened it up to the children between the age of 5 and 11, and they're starting to do first doses of the vaccinations out here. So it's interesting, man. Some of the conversations that I've had with people have been pretty intense, man. Like I didn't realize how emotional some folks were going to get about it when it came down to the actual vaccination with their children. Some people are, feeling like it's a lifesaver, and other people are furious they're doing it, but they're kind of begrudgingly moving that direction because they feel like it's the best way to protect their child. Which I agree with, I agree with you doing and this is all I'm going to say about it right now, because this isn't what we're going to talk about tonight with the vaccinations, is that you have an obligation to yourself to do whatever it is you feel best suits your need to feel safe. If that means wearing 3, 4, 5 masks, being vaccinated, staying home, whatever it might be, do what you need to do for you, and don't let anybody shame you for it, because it's 100% up to you to protect yourself. And if you happen to be in a situation where, let's say you're in a no helmet law state, right, for motorcycles, but you choose to wear a helmet, and people want to make fun of you for that, but when you get in the accident, you're the one whose head's going to be hitting the concrete, right? So protect your head, and don't shame people for getting the jab, the Fauci ouchie. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to get it, go ahead, man. But don't let it become a political turning point for people. Like, it doesn't define who you are as a human being if you get it's the mandate. And again, I think Colin, you said it right here. So Colin Berger, mandate piece. Yeah. So that, I think, is what people are really, what we can all agree is the focal point. Not so much, the medical side of it, though I do have issues with Big Pharma. I'm going to say it. I'm going to leave it at that. But
that being said, all right, everybody, welcome to the stream. I'm gonna welcome my viewers real quick. All right, y'all, Mercado Media and Snack Squad. Welcome to the stream, everybody. If you could please like the videos, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, following the page. Hey, you guys continue to make the dream work. Share this stream out. Hit that share button. Welcome. I see you, Karen. I see you, everybody. Welcome. We got nearly 40 on YouTube, guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're going to be talking about our experience in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and just how we got there, why we were there, what we learned there. And again, this is all from just our experience, and our vantage point. That doesn't mean that I should speak for me. That doesn't mean that my vantage point was 100%, everything that happened. It was a piece of it, and it's just a perspective. So as we go into this story, I want you guys to understand that this is just me and CJ's truth, and just what we had went through in that time, at that moment in time. So there's many different perspectives out there in Kenosha, Wisconsin, many different vantages and live streams and just media that was out there in general. So this is just me and CJ's experience. And of course, if you had an experience out there, I'm sure CJ would agree. Reach out to either of our pages, and we'll have you on some point during the week, during the trial, and like during the break time. At least on my platform, we could just have a little quick discussion during the 10-minute break. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and welcome.
Yeah, agreed. And again, you guys remember one of the things that's interesting about what you're getting here is that no matter what people's personal views and opinions are, they're personal to you, right? And so the issue, not the issue, but what we have here is a story that has two people, right? Andrew and I are both different human beings that had our own experience. You know, we had our own experience, but collectively we're there together. And I think that firmly represents what I think, and I think, Andrew, you probably agree with me on this one. I think that firmly represents what the world is experiencing right now, is that we all, in a lot of the live streams that we've covered in individually and collectively, is that we see it all together, right? So collectively we're experiencing it, but we're all attaching ourselves to it in our own personal way. You know, it's going to affect us in a way that's 100% unique to you. And I think what's happened a lot of times is we've polarized ourselves into believing that there's only a certain way you're allowed to feel about something based off of what the general consensus is on one side or the other, or on any side. And I think that what we need to remember is that, like, our life experiences take us to a place where we experience things in a way that's personally but this personal and unique to us, right? Like Andrew, you were in the military, you know, and you've had your experience. You were on Lake Street. You saw the riots there. You were around things that brought you to a place where your experience in Kenosha, I'm sure, is different than what I had, even though for a lot of it we were right beside each other walking on these streets, along with so many other people that were out there recording. And we had tens of thousands of people, you know, that were watching live with us, you know, on both our shows that definitely personalized that experience, you know, the way that their life has brought them to feel. So, yeah. So basically, this is the plot of Inception. Steve Phillips says, basically, we're two guys inside of an experience talking about another experience as that experience experienced to us. But
it's the metaverse, basically. We're
in the metaverse, right?
We're
technology.
You guys are all going to be in the metaverse after this live stream's over with.
We're coming for you all.
Yeah. But anyway, so you got the. You want to start with the?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Let me see what we got over here. So guys, we're gonna jump into like the road trip from Kenosha.
We never intended to go to Kenosha, Wisconsin. Like, that's something that I think is lost in the story, is that our goal was just to go from Minneapolis across the country and just like find like little fun things that we could cover, you know, because we had just went through some stressful times and some wild times, and we wanted to just find some other stories to cover, like
do you remember sorry, do you remember the layout we had for the road trip?
It was like, something
I remember putting that map together.
We were going to go to the Amish people.
We were going to go to like Hershey, Pennsylvania. We were going to spend a day in in Mennonite country. We were I had segments lined up with us in Detroit. We were going to do some MMA training with about proper hand-to-hand combat and de-escalation techniques, and like all of these things were laid out in front of us. But we were starting in Minneapolis, right? And then we made it as far as Chicago. Like, not very far. What was that drive? How far is it from Minneapolis to Chicago?
It's a 6 hour.
That's it?
Yeah, 6 hours. 6 hour and 15 minutes, I think.
That's not very far at all.
No, it's really not that.
We didn't make it that far. We didn't make it far. And then we were geared up to do a live stream with Converge Media. Big shout out to Amari.
Shout out to Amari.
Yeah, Salisbury back here in Seattle. Firm representative for the Black community as a primary focal point for the show that he does. Incredible platform. And they just got their new studio set up downtown Seattle, which is really cool. But yeah, we and then someone called us. They're like, "Hey man, someone got shot in Kenosha." You know,
right? We were in the hotel room, like preparing to do that stream with him. Like I had my laptop out, CJ had his laptop out. We were just getting ready to go.
And let's be real. I didn't have a laptop at that point. I was trying to figure out how to use my phone for everything. So
you were borrowing a laptop.
I was borrowing a laptop. I was really trying to figure that out. But we were sorting out the technology side, and then someone's like, "Hey, you know, someone got shot in Kenosha. Jacob Blake got shot in Kenosha."
Yeah.
Did you know where Kenosha was before that?
No, I had never heard of it. I'd never been there. I'm much closer to Wisconsin than you are, you know, being from Minnesota, but I still had never heard of Kenosha at that time. But there's still, and then I still tell my followers to this day, hey, can everybody hear me better? Everybody in my chat saying that you can't hear me well. Can you guys hear me? I know you can. Chat, comment if you guys can hear me better now. I turned it up. And so there was like a dread that came over me because of the influx of messages that had come in, and I was just like, oh no, like this doesn't seem like a good situation. You know, I was more keen to stay back and do the rap with Converge, but you know, it is what it is. You know, CJ was like, you know, let's go. We got to go there. Like it's a 45-minute, 50-minute drive. Or it's actually a 55-minute drive. We got there in 45 minutes.
You drive fast. I'll give you that.
Yeah, we got there.
People are saying like, you haul ass, man. You definitely got us there quick.
You can hear me now. Okay, thank you guys. Thanks, chat.
Yeah.
Awesome. So,
yeah, man, and it was wild because I know both of us were kind of like, where do you want to go, man? Like we just settled into this hotel room, which we never stayed in. We were there, I think we were checked in there for like 2-3 days, whatever, before we checked out, but never actually. I don't remember actually sleeping in a bed for the first couple nights. I think we were like just kind of, you know what it was, man. Night one, we slept on, was it Karen's? The Good Karen?
Yeah, the Good Karens.
The Good Karen, man. We slept on the Good Karen. Big shout out to Captain Mike's very own Karen, who hooked us up with. She came out, man. That was a beautiful moment for us. Like we were both just demolished. All of us, we were just ruined. You covered in soot, just wrecked. And she came out and was like, it was really emotional, big hugs, and was like, "Hey, would you be interested in coming into my house and getting off the street? Maybe I can feed you some breakfast." The sun had come up. We were at the marina. Was it the marina? The waterfront in Kenosha by the bulkhead.
Yep.
And she was like, come on in. Ferguson, was that the? Oh no, I thought Ferguson was the name of her cat. I was like, oh man, someone dropped the name of the cat in there. That was amazing, but that was the name of the city. And yeah, man, it was incredible. She made us eggs. I remember like just laying face down on the floor, hugging her cat.
So let's start with when we got there initially. So from Chicago, so we were in Chicago in a hotel. It was a 45-minute drive. We pull up, and then I got the footage rolling right now. If you wanted to pull up some B-roll just while we play.
Someone's saying real fast, they're saying Soul Luna was their introduction to live streamers. I think we both give big shout outs to Soul right now. He's crushing it on his musical journey right now. So you guys check 100%. Out Soul Luna. If you guys get a chance, go to Spotify, check him out. He's got a new album getting ready to drop. He stepped away from streaming and stepped fully into his talent of not that he wasn't talented at streaming as well, but kid's got some real incredible musical inclination there. So but yeah, where we at? So yeah, we got this video here. So this is we watched a little bit of this on my stream the other day, but this is from Andrew's camera in front of the police station in Kenosha. Remember how? Okay, I'm going to add this real fast, but you need to turn the volume up, I think, on your side.
Okay, you want the volume?
Well, you don't have to throw it in just yet, I guess.
Okay.
So, but what was interesting was we didn't know where we were going. Remember that? We had no idea where we were headed, and then we remember like rolling the window down. We just were smelling for tear gas, or
we were listening for sirens.
Was that what? Okay, honestly. I remember like trying to trust my nose, man. That's toucan salmon with my big old nose, seeing if I can smell our way there, man. It's just, and we ended up, we found it.
So we had got there, we pulled up, we see this precinct, right? And this was the scene. There's like maybe 20 police in front of the precinct. We had no real prior information. We just had gotten the address, to the police precinct. And it was just quite the scene, and I can turn on some sound.
Yeah, go ahead.
Those are some what you call flashbangs. So we got some flashbangs, some tear gas, and tear gas going on. I'm sharing the screen real quick.
It was intense because people at this point were like, it was just like friends and family of Jacob Blake that were in front of the police station at this point, and everyone was so angry, man. So angry. Like there's a lot of tears, a lot of crying. And it wasn't what you normally see in like the protests when you're out, when people are standing off with the police. But you had people that were like personally like that were furious at these police officers. And I think that the anger was directed because they, like for them, like I said, friends or family, and they weren't sure like if one of these officers was actually the one involved in the shooting. I mean, that's, I think, the mentality that a lot of people had out there, the way they were seeing it.
There was lots of anger. I mean, you could tell in the air. I mean, you could feel it in the air, just like the anger, and just like it was about to go down.
Yeah.
Hey, how's the audio, guys? Is it better now?
People fighting back. You see the people. People are throwing tear gas. They're throwing it back at the police. Engaging. The police are engaging CJ. Are you okay?
Turn on the GoPro.
You okay?
Yeah, GoPro's up.
And then my stupid behind didn't have a gas mask, so I was just like, oh, that was rugged, man. That was rugged.
Yeah, you didn't. You only had a cloth mask. I had, because I was sick of it. I was like, man, I need something that I could cover my eyes and be able to breathe out of at the same time. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and then it's funny because people kept saying like, "Oh, you got your gas mask," and every time I'm like, "No, I'm sorry, I didn't bring it. I didn't bring it again. I failed to plan for this. I wasn't expecting there to be protests and riots, man. Like that, you know, that wasn't what we went out for. You know, originally we were just going to do a trip cross country. We were going to tag team with some other streamers that we along the way, and it was going to be a really chilled out, you know, experience. But it definitely was not what it turned into.
No.
You know?
It was supposed to be, though. We were supposed to. I mean, we had like a snack cooler with us. Like,
shout out Snack Squad, man.
Yeah.
For all the indifferences and things that went weird for our exchange. There we are. A couple of young bucks taking on the world. Me and my bright ass light I picked up at Best Buy. I remember I got that.
They were probably like, what is that? Who is that guy with that flashlight? You could probably shine it and see Racine from there.
Yeah, I could see their intestines and their intentions through their body with that light.
Two eyes.
Yeah, but someone finally did hook me up with a gas mask. So yeah, Kathy Anderson on YouTube. They finally they dialed me in. They dialed
how many police would you say that there was in front of the police station at this time? Like what did they have out there? Because I mean, everyone's seen on the trial now, like there was militia out there by the third night. There was just there's FBI. There was just so much law enforcement. But right here, how much law enforcement would you say was out there in front of the precinct?
Like you said, like 20, 25. And then they were slowly coming out. But what was interesting is you'll see in the video here at some point, they were like sharing shields and like they had their nightsticks, right? Their batons. But like some of these people that came out with like some of their riot gear on, they only had like half their gear on. They'd have like one shin pad on or like, you know, like people like this guy in the end, like half their gear. Like you could tell they were fully unprepared for what was about to take place in the city of Kenosha. And someone said that the protest started at the scene of the shooting, and then it made its way to the police station. So
we had got there, you know, right when it started at the police station. It's not like we were looking for that. It's just that's when we had rolled up because we were in Chicago. We were downtown Chicago. Yeah. At like the Wyndham Hotel or something in like the heart of Chicago and left all of our stuff there.
Yeah, we were at like we went to like Wrigley Stadium. Like that's what I was looking at earlier. Like it's funny because I couldn't find you, and I was like, "Hey, has someone seen a tall, gangly guy in a Vikings jersey?" And some guy's like, "Yeah, he went that way." He went that way, and you were like, "Nah, it's okay. They're cool with me here."
I wore that purposely.
Right, very strategic. Yeah, I almost got beat up because I said something about the White Sox. They were playing the White Sox that day.
They were.
And I was like, "Oh man, sucks to be a White Sox fan." The guy's like, "I'm gonna come down there. I'm gonna get my hands on you." Like,
they take it so serious.
Yeah. Speaking of seriously though, like here, yeah.
So this is they kick it. The protest gets in front of the police station and it gets dispersed. They use all less than lethals. They use tear gas, flashbangs, and now then people in the crowd start burning things, and like that the dump trucks get burned. Like the couple that they had out there, because they didn't have the ones on the side yet, I don't think.
No, there was like right in between the two buildings, like the one you're looking at right there. It was like the one that was, I want to say that was the one that was in front of the paleontology museum. Mm-hmm. Because you have the admin building to your left right here, and then so we're looking at Civic Park right now. To your right is the paleontology building, and then to our left is the courthouse, and then the trolley tracks run right through here. Yeah, that was the first fire truck that went, or the dump. That was a dump truck. That's why I kept saying dump truck, because they were, the rest of them that were lit up were garbage trucks.
They were garbage trucks, correct? Yep. They were the older garbage trucks that the city had. They put them out there.
Yeah. What an interesting tactic, though. You know what I mean? Like,
and then I know, I don't.
Yeah.
And then the window of one building had started to get broken by this point
on the courthouse. Yeah. What was interesting?
Aubrey, Aubrey says real quick. Aubrey says she remembers how much that we loved the smell of Chicago food.
Oh yeah. And then we had to smell this.
I know, right? We went from the joys and the delicacies of Chicago food,
dude,
to that.
Yeah, this is this was where, and then the sounds too, which but I mean the smell was something else. It went all was tear gas and like burning rubber and like hydraulic fluid and gasoline.
sulfur and the smell of burning bad. The smell of burning building, I think will never go away. There you are on the corner.
It's gonna blow up.
Man. So on the right there is the Paleontology Museum. Let me see if I can pull this up real fast.
You have your footage from around that?
Yeah, we're doing good with yours right now, I think, because we got like legit when I say that, guys, that I haven't watched any of the footage from last year, like I really mean I really haven't watched like any of the footage from last year. I had to have my family send me over, my sister send me over our P-Cloud file so I could look at the footage again, because I haven't really seen it since last year.
You got it. People are asking about when you grab the flag. Do you have that one?
Yeah. I mean,
technologies.
Yeah, right.
It's locked in the CJ vault. It's like a Disney vault,
right.
only for CJ.
Yeah, for me to not know how to get into it.
If you said goodbye so soon, we missed you for the last couple months, but looking back.
They always come back when it's so violent out there.
We're in Chicago.
Everybody comes. Like I could be filming like something educational or like like a debate with like a politician or just an interview with something, like, you know what I mean, like a constructive dialogue where like some, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe 100 viewers, maybe 100, and then when I'm filming fire and destruction, it's like
I think a lot of that might be is just people they having a chance to like get close to something that they otherwise wouldn't through somebody else. They have a vicarious opportunity where it's like, damn, like you're to see like a riot, but to be able to see it from inside the riot, that's something where
it's a different perspective.
Yeah, we've all seen, like a bear catching a salmon type thing. Well,
everybody's seen an interview. Everybody's seen an interview with a politician, I guess, or whatever.
Sure.
It just sucks though, because like, you want to take what you learn from these situations and apply it to like questions you're asking. You know what I mean? And this with your interviews, like you apply what you learn right now into your interviews, and like, hey, like, and you're asking people that make decisions and policy making and stuff.
Yeah,
and I just wish that more people would like stick around and like watch that too. And
politics are difficult until they affect you. You know what I mean? I think that's where a lot of people are kind of figuring out right now that like local politics are. It's almost like, I mean, for me, I'd much rather watch a college football game than a professional game, because it's just more interactive and real, and these people are really out there trying to earn it. And I think that's kind of how I look at local politics. Like I'd rather watch and be involved in a local politics level where you have a chance to actually influence potential change, and that's where it's got to start, because I think on a macro scale, it's so like out of our hands. We see things like, on a presidential level, people are, they're fighting about that. And I'm like, well, it's a big deal. Yeah, let's start local and make some changes there, and then see if there's a way to, to elicit change. But
what were you feeling in this moment in time out on the street?
That was where, I was trying to like let people know what it's like when you feel a crowd like building up. Like in Portland, it happened a lot. Like you'd feel like when a crowd was like starting to like get some synchronicity, you know what I mean? And that was scary. And when people are out protesting, the issue is that like they're all kind of, everyone's in their own little idea of what you want to do there, what you're trying to accomplish. And then at some point, these people, these different entities are moving around, and they link up, and then they start moving in a flow. And man, and then it's scary because you can feel the energy change. Everyone like links up and like, oh, it's game time.
It's almost like in the air. Yeah, it's like it's in the air. Like you can, that Phil Collins song. I can, I can feel it in the air tonight. It's like, I don't know, like it's just like the vibe.
If there was ever an artist to represent the ideas behind a riot, it's good old Phil Collins. I don't think he's gonna. Hey, big shout out to Phil Collins, man. Way to rep for protest and riot mentality. So here, pause that real fast, Drew.
Go for it, no problem.
So what we're looking at, you guys, this is the Civic Center, right? Civic Park. So I can let me see, share screen here. I have
hey, take a moment while CJ is sharing this or pulling up a clip. Everybody that's watching on all streams, just share this stream out, like the video, subscribe to channels, like whatever. If you're watching on CJ TV, if you're watching on Snack Squad, if you're watching on Mercado Media, just it's free to engage with our streams. You know what I mean? Like while you're watching a CJ TV stream or you're watching a Mercado Media stream, just hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button. It's free to do, and it really does help us. Like that's amazing. You guys are awesome.
And for those that are just jumping in now that we have subscribers on YouTube, I encourage everyone that's watching to hop over to YouTube and become a subscriber on the YouTube channel over there. I appreciate
YouTube solid
for real.
We love YouTube.
Yeah, Twitch as well, man. Twitch is like folks over there, man. You got a good crew over there, And people are cracking up on this from the Phil Collins, man. But yeah, make sure to involve yourselves, guys. Thumbs up, thumbs down, hearts, emojis of a cat, like Crane kicking a gopher, whatever. But if you notice, check us out. So this is the same view, right, that we're seeing right here. So, and I'm going to take you guys on a quick walk around of what we saw here. So like this was the where they barricaded this street right here. Let me pull that up. So right here is where you see that line of garbage trucks. And then back over here, if you will, for a moment, boom, let's get to the street. This is the Paleontology Museum. So this is where the first dump truck was burning, was right here in this spot. And Drew, I don't know if while we're doing this, you're able to.
I got it. I already got it.
Oh, you did? My
guy.
Hold on. So boom. So yeah, that's what we're looking at right there in the background is this building. Basically this angle right here of the burning dump truck and the Paleontology Museum where they killed that poor dinosaur, which was
that didn't deserve it. And there was people in the bushes that had like little, I don't know if they had pellet guns or something, but they shot me in the leg. And I'm like, I thought it was the LRAD, and I got pissed. That's in like the second part of this, but it was just like there's nowhere safe to nowhere safe. You had to like be looking around your shoulder the entire time.
Right. Yeah, no, they were shooting you.
Yeah, they hit me in the legs from the bushes, and I was getting pissed. I was like, "What the fuck?" I turned around, and I thought it was the LRAD. The LRAD was like, "Wasn't me." He literally was like this. He's like, "Wasn't me."
Right.
I was like, all right.
I looked over at one point, and I saw the guy popped up out of the top of the turret, and I looked at him, and he wasn't looking at me. He was looking at you, and I was just like, "Well, take that guy." Well, I'm gonna lean to the left while they're shooting to the right. But yeah, that was interesting. So someone asked Drew, and these are things that'll pop up that I have no problem addressing. They asked if you someone asked if do you cut your films? What did it say? Dinosaur Museum. Does Mercado cut his videos to hide things?
Does Mercado cut his videos to hide things? No.
There you go. To be clear, guys. And I get where you're coming from. I think a lot of people have these like I don't want to say conspiracy theories, but they have these odd ideas about like what we do and how we do it. But the reason we go live, the reason we are live is so that you don't have to worry about watching it live. Granted, after we hit end on a live feed, now it becomes a video that people can manipulate, people can do what they want with. But we personally, the reason we go live is so we can give people a chance to see it as it happens without it being manipulated or changed in the process, so there's not like a false narrative that comes in later. Flip the volume on for this, would you please?
No problem.
Oh, very far away.
Yeah, it's very hard to cut a live stream. I mean, right. unless I like literally end it, which clearly I'm not. This is my footage. So someone that's asking, you're watching what I'm filming right now. I'm right there. We just watched that truck get lit on fire. Yeah. Now I am not in any position to stop these activities from happening, and I wouldn't, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna put myself in between someone trying to light light a truck on fire. You know, that's not my job.
Right.
My job is to film.
Right.
But in no position, in no way will I ever be, you know, stopping crime from happening.
Right. I think it changes. I think in 12, for those that don't know, is a term for police.
Yeah.
The 12. When we were talking about involving ourselves in events, like there's a compulsion that I feel at times, and I don't deny myself that, to say that, like, if I feel like I need to be involved, I'm not going to tell I'm going to do it. And I think that we saw that with the church. We saw that with a couple other situations where
you step in beyond that objective observing role, and that's where, like, you know, dude, like a church was going to be on fire, and we're going to go through that, and you have that footage that Shama made, right, of your feed, and then it cuts into mine.
I believe so.
Yeah. So we can go through that when we get to that part. But, you know, when we need to, like, direct the fire department somewhere, or like there's like an obvious, like, something's going on, you know, that's when we can, like, step in and do what we can do. You know what I mean? Yeah. But we're not going to step in between someone that's about to light something on fire or pop tires or, you know, cause damage. You know, I'm not. Yeah. I don't know what you expect. We're gonna.
I felt no connection of any kind to a dump truck or a garbage truck. You know, in all fairness, to be real, these things were placed here as a barrier or a barricade, and that's kind of meant to take the brunt of the force, right? So I guess that's almost like they're serving their purpose. And I believe, from what Corey Elijah was saying, these were the decommissioned ones that they had.
These were the old ones that they had out in the city. You know, they have newer ones.
Not that you know changes things, but it does. I mean, that's, you know, you can see that, like, they were doing their job. Apparently, I mean, stopping people, all these cars from driving in front of the courthouse. But when it came down to buildings where people lived, their livelihoods, that's where I had a real issue with watching it happen, because
I agree.
In all the protests that I've been in, all the riots, and it's been focused on government buildings and whatnot. You know what I mean, like the courthouse and whatnot. And I'm like, all right, cool. The government has plenty of people in play where they can come out and do things to protect that building. Yeah. But when it's someone's personal business or their home, like, I'm never going to get behind that when you see
me either.
A protest turned to a riot and
me
start destroying people's livelihood. People could have very well, people did die in this week, but in fires, there was animals that died, people lost homes, people lost businesses, and man.
And then I don't, you know, and there's like and I know for any viewers that have like this stigma or this thought of me that, you know, I just support like these like this. Like I support something like this happening, and I absolutely don't. I absolutely don't just support, you know, property destruction, or, again, like CJ was talking about. When in Minneapolis, it was getting into the residential areas, and I was in a position, you know, we had to like go in and save somebody's like cat, and I went inside somebody's house myself and was talking to them, and like how frantic and how scared they were of like the risk of their house being burned. And like I'm sitting there and I got my stream on my side, but I'm talking to this person like, hey, make sure you get your birth certificates, make sure you get all your sensitive items, you know, get it all out of your house, because, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. And, you know, I was there to do that. Like that's when I stepped in, and I never support, you know, when it gets to this point. But at the same time, you know, I'm not there to be the police and like stop this from happening. I'm there to film it. I'm not there to tell them, hey, stop, or hey you, like, hey, stop it. I'm not the police, right? I'm not the law enforcement. I'm there to film it and show my advantage, my perspective from what it looks like, but I'm in no position to step in and tell them to stop.
And that, I think, is what happened with one of the parallels they're drawing in the court case right now, is that these militia were stepping in and doing things in the stead of the police, right? As a proxy for the police, if you will,
as an authority figure,
right? And the second you put yourself in that position, now you become a focus of attention, and that's when things become incredibly dangerous when you're out in these situations. It's scary, man, and I think a lot of people keep asking what scary moments one, and it's the times when you don't know what's going to happen.
Right,
like walking through a crowd like you see me there, that you don't know what's going to happen, because there was plenty of times when we were filming and like a brick would fly by my head or a bottle would smack me in the back.
There's a specific time that I still cringe thinking about it, And it's when we get close to, and then we're gonna get to the car parking lot, which was a big matter of problems in the court case, and just like with the fire that was happening towards the church. But I had gotten too close with my live stream that night, and I was like right in the parking lot, like among like people causing damage. And then they all turned at me. It was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like I was like, "Fuck." And that is another reason why people like you don't get it. Like there's like this. You gotta be careful with what you're doing. You can't just film everything. You can't get all up in there and film everything because you could get yourself hurt. You could get yourself. You could get like they could come find you, and like you can't just like there's some crime happening, so you got to go out there and do it. Like you could get yourself seriously hurt. Like I almost did. Like they almost turned on me and was like coming after me. It was like, shit, I gotta get out of here. I'm in the middle of this parking lot. I didn't realize where I was. You know what I mean? And I had to get back and get away and like kind of like dodge the risk that I was in. But there's a factor of like you gotta know when you can get in there and like see, look at this, like this stupid shit right here. You know what I mean? I can film that. There's no risk there. But like when they're actively, when someone's damaging something or causing damage to something, you gotta look out for yourself at the same time, because they could turn at you and look at you and then come at you after they're done damaging whatever they're damaging.
Right. And I think what we saw, and I saw it a lot down in Portland, I can actually queue up some footage of that. I think I have that right here. Which
I'll pause this.
Yeah. So yeah, let me show you guys this real fast.
Make sure we keep it on Kenosha though as best we can.
Yeah, we will. I'm just going to show a quick clip here of Portland real fast, and I'm going to tell you why. Because it ties into exactly what we deal with when we're looking at sorry, let me make sure I can pull this. Yeah, Portland Feds and Offense. Let me see if this one's the one. Make sure I got the right one here. So you guys, we watched a quick clip of this. This is how crazy things get, right? So this is where things escalated to in Kenosha. But you'll see in this that there are people that are self-identified as press or media that are actively engaged in activities of a riotous intent, if you will, or that are engaged in protesting, but that are identified as, like it says over my shoulder over here, press, and it says behind you, press. And it made it really hard. And if you remember when we were on top of that garbage truck, there was some guy someone threw something. Like there was a guy next to me on the truck, and he threw something and yelled something at like over the fence at the National Guard.
So this was
I was like, you have to get away from me immediately. You got to get away. You can't be up here. You can't be by me, identifying yourself as press, and then engage in acts of, inciting any kind of violence or agitation towards these people, because now you put a target on my back. I was like, you need to get away from me, man. And you'll see that here. Like these are a lot of folks up on this line right here. Turn that volume down a little bit. But if you see, like, a lot of these people that are up on this fence line right now, and this is the federal courthouse down in Portland. A lot of the people that are up on this fence line are they have press on their helmet or on something else, and a lot of people are just filming. But there's a lot of people down there that are engaged in activities that make it hard for all of us to operate, because they're doing stuff. They're doing things they shouldn't be doing. So we're not gonna jump into all of that too deep, but and then we'll throw where we at back in here.
100%. So that was more like, so the third night came around and we saw a bunch of that by the third night. Yeah. And that was the topic of the trial right now, is that third night. There was so much that had happened from that front of the fence, and that was the parallels is that when the fence had showed up by the third night, man, it was a big parallels to that.
Yeah, so absolutely.
Speed up a little bit. The LRADs that came out after about 20 minutes of this. Christy says, I always look for a live feed instead of something on a news channel now. It's so much better.
Watch out, bro.
They had how did they have 3 of those things though?
These LRAD or the Bearcats here?
Those Bearcats, yeah. We don't even have, I think.
You know what I think is interesting, man, about a lot of people that are in these crowds is a lot of them, they were young people, a lot of young people that were out there. And they get out and they're super excited because it's like they don't really know what they're trying to accomplish, but they think violence and destruction is what they're like the end game to what they're out there doing. And so they're just celebrating these violent and destructive acts as actually, being like, oh, we did it. There we go. Check one off the list. We blew that truck up. I was like, no, I mean, getting down to it, people were expressing anger over what happened with the police-involved shooting with Jacob Blake. And Jacob Blake's family came out and they were like, we don't want to see destruction. We don't want to see the violence. That is not what Jacob wants. It's not what we want. It's not what our city needs. It's not what our city wants. And in your video, you saw that at one point. The locals were kicking people out. They're like, hey, you're not even from here. Get out of our city. Like, shoot, be gone.
Now that you guys have been watching,
and how many arrests in the comments, man? If anybody would come in, how many arrests?
Hey, your mic sounded a little fuzzy, CJ.
Like a riot,
my mic sounds fuzzy?
Yeah, it sounds a little. Yep.
You sure?
100%. Let me see.
Let me see. Sounds good on my end. Hope it sounds okay on your guys. In the comments here.
You guys hearing the CJ's mic sounding up, acting up?
It's gonna be tough. I know.
Anybody on my side? How does the mic sound on my end? Fuzzy mic? Sound is bad. Really? Okay. Let me remove myself from the studio.
So this is Sheridan Road, guys, that we're standing on, and now the side dump trucks had been, the fire had carried over. There was fire tornadoes. It was incredibly hot, just like the structure fires that we had seen from Minneapolis.
Yeah, just keep a distance back.
Yeah, it says, he's fixing it.
Does that sound any better, guys?
Yeah, it's still got the chopping noise. It's like a chopping noise.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Valid point. Valid point.
It's like a behind your noise. Hey guys, take a moment and like the video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You're watching on Snack Squad's YouTube channel, Mercado Media's Facebook page, CJTV on YouTube and Facebook. Comment where you guys are tuning in from, what city and state you guys are watching from, where in the world you're watching from. Again, we will be live tomorrow at 9 a.m. It does say 10 a.m. on Facebook. I don't know why. But
this side of the street.
9 a.m. Central Time, the trial will be live.
Yeah. That's going to blow up again. It's going to blow up again.
All right, I'm thinking we're okay.
That's better. That's way better now.
We're good? All right.
Yep, you fixed it.
I think I might have touched the wrong thing. Freaking technologies, man.
Technologies.
It's always teaming up against me, man. Like, I move this thing around a lot, though, because, I don't know. I feel like Elvis gets me all shook up.
How many do you have now?
I got to pull up.
All right, that's the goal, guys. We're going to do a viewer goal. 10,000 in the view. The news, you guys know how it goes from Minneapolis.
What Andrew just said right there is interesting too. He said we're a new viewer goal of 10,000, and like I know at times like we both had tens of thousands of people that were live watching this, and you can imagine 100,000 plus at any given time, and that's saying a lot because those are all people that were actively watching this happen. That like we said at the beginning, that are personally attached to this story as it was happening. And man, it was crazy. It's as a stupid side note, but I just looked at that little side shot of me, and I probably lost, no joke, like 20 pounds that week from not eating. Remember, we were trying. Yeah,
we ate chicken nuggets.
We would share like a 5-piece or something, 6-piece,
5-piece of nuggets.
Yeah, they were like, we're out of this, we're out of that, we're not getting anything. Like, but like, and then just hot running through all that heat, and then like, man, just sweating. Yes, man, it's crazy. And then not sleeping for like a week.
Safety meeting time.
Safety meeting time. I agree.
Andrew's taking his medicine.
It helps.
Yeah. What up, Jenny? Over in Wenatchee.
What was your feeling during this time, though? Like watching this, like what was your emotions? Like, talk through your emotions right now,
dude. Right at this point, dude, I was honestly like, I don't think excited. But I'll say this, that but it was definitely that, like, the sense of anticipation. Like, I was in an incredible sense of anticipation, because I knew that it was. I kept saying it. I was like, it's starting. This is how it starts, and it's. And then the crowd, you guys remember, like, the crowd itself changed as well. Like, everyone kind of started spreading out. It went their own directions, but they were, like, slowly grouping up in different areas, like making their own, like, grouping of people. And that's what's scary, is when people, like I said, everyone's kind of chaotically moving around, but when they start, like, getting in synchronicity, that's when shit happens, and that's when things can get really bad. So you watch people, like, getting together and kind of like getting little huddles, and they're like, all right, cool, here's what's going to happen next. And I was like, oh man, if it's already running like this, like someone said, the adrenaline was already super high. I was like, man, it is definitely going to get turned up here in a minute. And because these trucks, we watched it happen. Like, right, we watched, there was one truck on fire down to the left there, across from Civic Park, and or down the street from the across from the courthouse and next to the Paleontology Museum.
Absolutely, psychedelic adrenaline levels were very, very high.
Psychedelic.
Yeah, that's the username on YouTube. Sounds intense.
I thought that was a medical term. I was like, damn, man, that sounds real official, man.
I know.
Psychedelic, man.
Wow.
Yeah. Let me see. Someone says, CJ, the narratives are hiding you both. Can you move your live stream to the top?
I mean, the narratives. What does that mean?
I'm not sure what that means. Yeah. What we have, I can do this. If that helps.
Is that better for the people?
Yeah. Hey, quick vote. This is number 1, and this is number.
It's like you're at the eye doctor.
2.
1 or 2.
1 or 2.
1 or 2.
Or 2.
2 or 3. Like, whoa.
2. Uh-oh. We just, yeah, same. I forgot which one was 1 and 2, honestly. Like, which was this one?
We're on 3 now. Oh.
We're on number 3.
When they be getting into 7 and 8, you know your vision is screwed.
It'll be 8. That's because it'll be 8 dimensions. It'll be like we're all.
Which one was number 1 and which one was number 2 now?
I think this is 1 and this is 2.
Now you got them all. Now you got everybody confused.
I mean, shoot. What are you gonna do?
Everybody's confused now.
I'm confused. Oh man.
What did you guys like better? Us on the left, us on the bottom, or us on the left?
There you go. Left or bottom.
This is your left, my right.
Narrative, the writing at the bottom. There is no writing at the bottom. Oh, I think maybe that your video had some writing at the bottom at one point. Maybe.
Did it?
I don't. Not that I've seen.
There's writing at the bottom.
Sarah, people are saying the side is better. One to bottom. 3.1.
Everyone's saying. People are saying
you're on 1 in the quarter. Maybe people are seeing it differently. I don't know. I mean,
I'm watching my own stream on YouTube and Facebook, and it looks just how we have it on our studio here.
I'd say I'm gonna mix. So we'll do a half and half. How about that? We'll do the left for a little bit, and then we'll go back to the bottom.
There you go. I make everybody happy.
Yeah, we're gonna try to appease the crowd here.
There we go.
Man. But yeah, what were you feeling? What was your thoughts here? I mean, because you were, honestly, to be real about it, man. To go into court terms, would it be fair to say? Would it be fair to say that this is how it looked on Lake Street in Minneapolis after George Floyd?
Is this what a reasonable independent journalist would say that their experience was? Is this what a reasonable? I'm using that. Get that.
Was that a comment from somebody?
Yeah, Eric.
I'm far from reasonable.
Attorney Nelson. No, Nelson. That was one of his jokes. He's always asking the reasonable officer questions. So.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah,
I got that one. That one. I got.
Oh, there's closed captioning on. I think
that joke didn't work.
It didn't land.
That one's
yeah. So, hey, to be clear, you guys, the closed captioning, if you can't see it, it's because it's on your screen. You can turn off closed captioning if you're watching on YouTube. I believe that's what's going on.
You always have manual control over the closed captioning. So all you gotta do is click the screen, and you'll see the 3 dots. On Facebook, what are they? On Facebook, they're sideways. They're in the top. They're up here. They're in the top right. They're in the top right of your screen. Same with YouTube, but YouTube, they're going to be they're horizontal, vertical. Facebook, they're horizontal up here. YouTube, they're vertical. They're 3 dots. You got to click those and then just turn off the captions if they don't. Because some people actually message me like, "Why aren't the captions on?" Like, I'm dead serious. I get messages that are like, "Hey, can you please turn the captions on?" So, but if you don't want them on, just manually shut them off. You can do that at any time. You can also turn them on if you want.
You know what's messed up, man, is I always turn on the closed captioning when I watch anything, and I spend so much more time watching, like reading what people are saying, than actually. You turn the volume on real quick.
Yeah.
I think somebody got pepper sprayed here, or hit with.
Keep blinking.
Well, I was like, "Who's playing music?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it was."
You gotta watch that whole face off, son. You don't want to get that shit. It'll keep ripping in your eyes, okay?
If there's one thing I can talk to you about plenty is tear gas and pepper spray, man.
For days.
Hey, just keep hitting there with the water.
So someone had got hit. We can go forward just a little bit because we spend a lot of time in the Civic Park.
Yeah.
A lot of time in the Civic Park.
That radio right there got you in trouble too.
It did. That's why when I rolled up on them, they thought I was a Fed because like we needed them, dude. Because like
we kept getting lost in the crowd. Was terrible. What was funny is like when you look at you, like you got a vest.
I look like a baby. I look like a baby. So
you do. You look like a baby cop. What's funny is if you at one point, man, we were down covering the that Portland protest. Remember there was there was the Proud Boys on one side of the freeway, and then you had like Antifa on the other side, or the block.
Yep.
And the night before, I was down there with my cameraman and my security guy. And we're at the hotel. We were doing a safety meeting, not a safety meeting, but we were doing a safety check. So he was walking through how to use a tourniquet. Like we were refreshing on all these things because we felt it was important to know how to use our med kits. And
hey, real quick, while we're on this topic, I have a question for you since you had that one earlier, and someone just asked this.
Yeah.
Are you a cop, CJ? You have to answer this one for everybody.
I'll never tell. No, far from it. Far from me. I can't even join the National Guard. No, not a cop, not a Fed, not working for the CIA, NSA, NASA, the Federal Post Office, Space Force. I don't.
If anything, out of both of us, I'm the veteran. Like I served in the military. Like,
he's much closer to being a Fed.
I'd be more. But at the same time, like, hey, I'm about to just start carrying like a mini bong in my backpack, and I'll be like, yeah, you're a cop. No, I'm not.
Are you kidding me?
Light up right in front of them, like, whoa, just throw them off.
I guess you're not.
Now, say something now.
Yeah, so like I was like,
be thrown off so bad.
So overt, you're covert. Like, oh, you're just doing that. That's not even real weed you're smoking. But right. But it's funny. I've been getting that from the first day I went out. It's because I'm a big guy. You know, I look like. So it's funny. Are you a cop? Perfect cop answer. Someone says. But what's interesting? Cop. So
that's exactly what a cop would say, CJ.
Right. So my security, the guy I was down there doing security with. You know, it's funny. I have this picture. I'm gonna pull it up for you. It'll crack you up. Because immediately we were looking at
There's Corey Elijah out there in his Brewers jersey.
Yeah, that was a hit, man. That Corey
was out there in his Brewers jersey on the first night.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
I'm about to from now on, I'm about to bring a mini bong with me. Whenever Antifa Mike comes up to me or whatever at the protest, like the same dude comes up to me every time there's like some shit about to happen. Like,
you seriously get approached though about it?
I mean, only when it's like when it's wild out there.
No, I mean, I get it. Don't get me wrong.
When it's like wild, and Antifa Mike will come up to me and like, hey, well, you're filming, and blah, 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 blah. I'm about to just have my mini bong and pull it out, and like just hit that, rip it.
It'd be great if they understood that, like, we're not out there to be anybody's enemies. You know what I mean? I'm not out there to be anything more than the eyes and ears of the people, you know, and let everybody see what's going on. But it's interesting that they're like, no, you're the bad guy. And I'm like, you don't like me because of the people that don't like you that are watching what I'm showing them right now. That's not on
No,
me.
This is not live. Me and CJ Halliburton from CJ TV are going over some of our old Kenosha footage. Just kind of talking about our personal experiences there. You know, we're all watching the trial on both my platform and CJ's platform right now. So like, this is just our time to talk with you guys and go in through our experiences and what we saw, what we went through from the beginning to, because we're spending a lot of time on this third night, but there was so much that happened the prior 2 nights that are just, they're not, this is our time to talk about it. And like, maybe after this, we don't talk about it for a while. We don't have to, you know what I mean? This is the time.
Sure.
But you know, this is not live. This is my footage, and then CJ's pulling up his footage as well. You know, we're kind of trading off, just going through our perspectives of the experience in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Yeah. Let me show you this real fast because
go ahead. I'll
going
pause.
to this cop thing. This is kind of funny because we can have a good time with this. We don't have to have it be too serious. So, I'm gonna stop screen on that one, and I'm gonna show you guys. So, like I said, we were getting ready in the hotel, morning of getting ready to go out and like meet up with you and like everyone else in Portland, and so my guy, oh man, love him to death. So my good friend here, and he's running camera for me, right? And he's a big guy. He's like 270 pounds, big dude, big white guy, right? 6'1", maybe 270, big guy. And I got a big Polynesian cap. My guy John, who's doing security with me. So this is what he looks like. All right, I got to show you this. So, which is funny to me. So this is that morning, right? This is after we just got done doing everything, right? And I've got my vest on. I got a stab vest on at this point, like my bulletproof vest. It's for hand. It's anyway. It's not rifle plating, but it's got my vest on. But we're getting ready in the hotel, and I've got him putting on like his black, you know, my black jacket, and he's got a hoodie on. And I was like, man, not for nothing, bro, but you look just like a cop, you know? And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, you look like a cop. Then I was like, oh, I get it, dude. So I was like, here, take your hat off. No. Put your hat back on. No. I was like, man, maybe lose the jacket. And I was like, no. Put the jacket back on. Put the mask up. No. Take the mask off. No. No matter what you do, man, you look like a cop. And I was like, I get it now. Because people kept saying that about me. And I was like, you just, you know, you just look.
In conclusion, CJ is not a cop.
Not a cop.
Not
yeah. No, not a cop. Sorry, guys. Let's throw this back on the stream.
Sorry to disappoint.
Sorry to disappoint. Yeah.
Behind the tree.
The other thing I said is like you enjoy sleep a lot, and sleeping in is a thing. And police don't get to sleep in.
Yeah.
They got to be there on time. Streamer time. We go by streamer time.
Yeah, it'd be cool if that was the case. They'd probably open up to more better equipment. You know what I mean? I'd have more than this to work with.
Try as best as you can to film what's happening.
Oh wow! Yes, it is. Hey, the motel we stayed at. That was the same hotel that Rosenbaum was staying at.
Which?
Are
you serious?
Yeah. Do you remember that?
What was the name of that hotel?
I don't even remember
Lake?
it.
I remember it was pretty sketch.
It was very sketchy.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. I found a prophylactic in the bed that I went to sleep in. I like pulled the sheets back, and I was like,
We didn't know that till after the fact, though. So it's not like we had any
You're
knowledge
right.
or insight. You know,
We
didn't know.
Oh, about Rosenbaum.
Oh, yeah, he was at that little motel.
Interesting. I didn't know. I did not know. You know, I was wondering about that when they were talking in court.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of that hotel? I remember it was out by a water.
They had that limousine out there. Remember the dude had like 3 businesses running out of that thing.
Yeah, he was on a hustle.
Yeah, he was. But it was
that other guy, the other streamer. Remember that one? The really tall black dude that was really tall. He was like 6'3", 6'4", like real tall dude. Super cool guy, man. Here's the jacket. Still looked like a cop. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So man, it's interesting that they've been showing a lot of, I feel, kind of superficial footage of the night, and I think maybe it's not so much on the defense side, but I think on prosecution they're showing a lot of stuff that I'm kind of like, but why? You know, what to what end? What is that?
It feels like.
Oh, there you go. Pause that.
This is like the very first like sighting of. Oh my! Oh, shoot! Oops! I hit the wrong button.
Do better.
I messed up.
Do better.
I'm fired.
But what we were about to see is
these are the first guys that showed up that had some type of firearms on. There we go. Go ahead. It's good to go for you.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'm gonna add this to the stream. But what's interesting is they were standing out in front of the courthouse. Like, did they say what they were? What do you remember? Maybe it says something in the audio. I'm not sure. So yeah, maybe hit play.
I'll play on the audio. Go back some.
I know.
Oh, he said they know who we are by now.
Are you okay being on camera? Okay.
So they didn't care.
Hold on,
So,
let me get one too.
are you okay? I always ask, are you okay being on camera? Like I usually will ask.
It's probably good policy with anybody carrying a gun, you know.
Literally.
So you guys represent anybody, or you guys? I know.
They don't get that though.
Kill a Kate.
Right? Right?
I wasn't about to like he was like right.
Yeah.
Like I have never said that ever.
But he hasn't
He's trying to get me to repeat it.
He hasn't said what they were looking to do there.
This is when they were hitting the courthouse at the windows. Some of the residents that came out. There we go.
Oh my God, here we go.
Always April. I always do.
Those of you saying they're just building fire trucks, they're burning fire trucks now. You can't really say that anymore. Here we go. Let's get a vibe check in. Let's get a vibe check, guys.
Yeah, good looking, Carol. It is good to be back and connect with Drew here. What's interesting, Andrew, and it's funny. I think we can talk to this point now. Is that I think people they made assumptions about like they were like CJ you know became like this the streamer of the right, and Andrew became a streamer of the left. Mm-hmm. And it was like this weird like thought that like that either one of us personally represented any group, which. Man, that's crazy. I mean, that being said, which we don't.
We got thrown into a side real fast. Like they keep throwing us in, which is wild to me because I've covered, you know, all types of rallies. I've covered, you know, things like this. I've been to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I covered the Trump rally. You know, I've covered mask mandate rallies. I've covered, you know, I've tried to cover as much as I can, but still. Yeah. I still get thrown into like a side, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I keep telling everybody, I'm like, hey, I used to think this one way. I keep telling everybody, like, I'm honest about it. Like, hey, I used to have strong convictions and beliefs a certain way. And after being out there myself in person and seeing it and experiencing it and learning and adapting, my thoughts and beliefs have changed like completely. And so like, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, and it does. No matter, guys, just so you know, like just to touch on Dan, yeah, your personal experiences are going to kind of like guide you in a direction. But I think that what people you know understand is because a certain group or any certain like center of people like matriculate towards you. Again, like I said in something earlier, is you know I don't create the people that I talk to by asking them questions, nor am I defined by who they are. You know, I'm simply out here trying to get information as best I can and to better understand it myself. But so this is the courthouse.
Yeah, let's hop back into Kenosha.
Yeah. So this window down here on the left is this is what we're looking at, the front of the courthouse in the video that Andrew has up right now. This is the front of the Kenosha, the courthouse, which is where they're having the trial right now. This is where you know they have
yeah, that is the same courthouse.
Yeah, and I saw a small group out there, a small group of people that were out protesting in front of the courthouse. Not a very big group, but you know. Someone said we evolve and we adapt. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, the so then it grew from here. It was man. Sound dropped by half. Was it just me? No, we have no volume on the video right now.
No, I paused the volume so that way you guys could hear us talk.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's a. Let's see, we have.
Hey Kelly, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Thank you guys so much for joining. So the Bearcat had just come out now. You know, there was fires being had to the garbage trucks, to the dump trucks. The window to the courthouse had been smashed. Fire had been started. There's a small crowd there. The Bearcat had rolled around the corner. They were getting into some position, but they had no control over this crowd. At this time, it didn't happen.
There was no enforcement there. There was really like no presence of any kind of law. I mean, that crowd's a lot bigger than the crowd response, if you will. You know what I mean? There's not much along the lines of like the National Guard, like what ended up showing up, and nothing like we've seen in other places, like in like North Carolina. They had that protest down there, and it was a handful of people. There were several hundred law enforcement. It was pretty wild. But you can see they showed up now. They're trying to put out that little fire in the window over there, which never took. The courthouse was never burnt. Buildings around it were never really burnt. Down the street, once it made it out into private buildings, that's when things took a turn.
When it left the government park. But that's why I question why every night the police kept pushing them into the city and pushed the crowd away from that. Like it's such a it's a square, so. Kettling. I mean, I don't know if they've ever had training in kettling or anything, but that was in Minnesota here. They were kettling through residential neighborhoods. It didn't matter. They were going through yards and everything to like round up protesters. It didn't matter. Like they'd run through backyards, like run through neighborhoods in the dark. But like here, this well lit like government plaza. Like look at there's lights on every building, well lit, very well lit, huge. And for some reason, maybe we'll learn this in the trial when they interview more witnesses. But the protests kept getting pushed away into the town, and it was it's just confusing to me. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why. But
we talked, we talked a lot about it. I think maybe what we saw, I saw it a lot in Portland, was they would do this this push and roundup, and then everyone would regroup. They'd push everybody out into the street, right? And so I think maybe that's what they thought they were going to do, but it didn't work out effectively. Is they would shove everybody, disperse them as best they could out into the streets, and people would get singled out. And they would snatch people up, and people would kind of congregate back into another area, and they'd keep doing that and just kind of like try to thin the water as best they could. You know what I mean? They're trying to like dilute the grouping as best as they could. But what happened here was everyone just got channeled down one street, and then everybody ended up moving in the same direction. And what really happened was, probably unbeknownst to them, is they created the mob by pushing everybody collectively, and they created a collective idea of people in one direction, and then bam, and then the rest is literally history as buildings started getting lit on fire. And but the focus was on these vehicles, these Bearcats, and like you saw people were like really focused a lot of their attention on the Bearcats. Like the guy, remember the LRAD even said it. They said
we have a tank. We have a tank.
You have an umbrella and what else did he say? And a t-shirt. You're going to lose. You need to go home. Like
out of all LRADs, theirs was the nicest.
Nicest LRAD, man.
Of all the cities I've been in.
Nicest LRAD ever, dude. That was I think he even gave the email address for the governor. I think he was like, you need to get a hold of your elected officials, write a letter. You can reach them at.
This is when they started. This is when they. Here, I want to play this. This is when they started.
Yeah.
This is when
those
they
are
started
impact rounds you're hearing.
Yeah.
Those are like these guys right here, these squids that come out. They're shotgun shells that are loaded up behind impact rounds like this, which suck.
They hurt.
You see that guy in the front of the video? He looked a lot like what Joseph Rosenbaum looked like.
I don't think he was out there yet at that night.
No, who knows though, right?
You ain't never been tear gas like a real man, bitches. Fucking faggot. I bet
you could, and then you knew that everybody was angry. Like there was just anger, and it was like I could feel it escalating from the moment we arrived, to this point. This person, just was here. This answers your question. If anybody was like, "Does Andrew cut his feed?" No, I don't.
The thing I wonder about is why in the head of the people that are doing this, why are they doing it? Like what is the people that are destroying this admin building right now? What is it in their head? Like, I'm curious. I really would like to know what is it that they feel they're doing. Not to be pejorative to them, but like what is it that is being accomplished in their mind when they're like, I'm going to smash the window out of this, or is it just like, damn, I can smash this window and no one's going to do anything to me. I can get away with it. And that's where like the chaos of these crowds comes in, and where chaos is allowed, like chaos will ensue. Like if you can get away with doing it's like the purge type thing. You know what I mean? In these moments, it's like purge time. Like, all right, do what you want, guys. You got all night to get away with it. No one's going to arrest you. You can take it out on a building, whatever. And
I think also though for some, though, you know, they were right in front of that police station trying to hold yeah, thank you, Kathy. I was just about to say that. They were trying to hold a protest in front of the police precinct, and as I've seen in Minneapolis too, that it didn't just start like people smashing things right away. It didn't start like that. There was people in Lake Street, you know, just to draw a comparison, that were just protesting right in the middle of the street, and they were getting tear gassed and flashbanged. And when you know what I mean, regardless, you know, you can say however you feel, when you get the escalation from the police, the people are escalating too. You know what I mean? When the police escalate, people are escalating, and it's just going to keep building and building and building. So as much as, you know, some of those people are opportunists right now and they're smashing windows, you know, it started from a point of the protest being in front of the police station, and the police did not let that happen, and they dispersed everybody into the town. So that aggression for some is going to be taking out on things. You know what I mean? Like that, and again, I'm not giving excuses for it or whatever, but just from an understanding from what I've seen in multiple different cities, you know, and that anger towards the police is getting deflected towards other things right now. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and again, not to give, you know, and again, there's opportunists in there too, I'm sure. But when you want it, when they show up to protest in front, you know what I mean? They were right in front of that police station, and again, when they get dispersed, things like this I've seen traditionally have happened, and that's just what's happened. It happened in Minneapolis, it's happened here, it's happened in other cities, and that's just from my perspective and from what I've seen.
This truck is going to lead this group of people, this group of cops, and they're going to.
You can see they're mounting up. They have more people that are showing up now.
To establish a perimeter. So they're going to get a perimeter around this. They're going to get a perimeter around this building. So that way,
what's funny is you're saying that.
This is a small town, I believe, right, CJ? What's the population? Someone look up the population.
We're trying to figure out the size of the town.
So the police department might not be ready for something like this. It is entirely possible.
This is
Go home, asshole! Pay your job, bitch! Pay your fucking job! Do a real job! You guys are murderers! 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 Oh, you think you have fun? Fucking pig!
We've been back to Kenosha before. We were there for a fundraiser last year, and you know, I went back this year answering Free Spirit. I went back to Kenosha. It was wonderful for the 1 year this year. They had a city restoration event. It was a treat to be a part of.
Yeah, I was not there. I personally, I tried. I was on my way to the airport, and I turned around. I wasn't quite ready for it yet. I wasn't quite ready to be in Keno yet.
This is Kenosha, Wisconsin. So just anybody that's tuning in now, we're going through footage from our time in Kenosha, Wisconsin, from the beginning. This is when it all started. You know, we're watching the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, and Kyle Rittenhouse and that group didn't show up until the third night. So this is just how it began. And we're just showing some of our highlights of our experiences, and to give a broader picture from our perspective of our time there, and just what we've seen and what we went through while we were out there.
Yeah.
They start throwing things back. I can still, like, in my head, smell that gas.
Yeah.
I can't see dick. I'm like all the way in the fucking gas right now. So this is what it's like when you stand inside of some tear gas, you guys. You can't really see shit. I'm like full in it right now.
It's just a walk through tear gas. Like, this is what it looks like. Yeah.
In case you've never seen what being inside of tear gas looks like. There's Lakota Lichwalt.
Yep. Big shout out Lakota, man. He's a local Kenosha.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're using his footage in the trial and all that. Yep.
Yeah, someone said, okay. No, where is it? No, not that one. There we go.
We're in the gas. We're chilling. We're good.
We're talking about when people grab those the tear gas canisters or the smoke canisters. Those things like those will melt
they're
concrete.
They're hot.
They'll legit like melt your hand.
People don't realize that when they pick it up.
Face is just on fire.
Yeah.
I can't believe my skin is just like toasty right now. This is the spiciest air I've stood in a good minute.
Yeah, we'll touch on night 3. We'll get there. Don't rush perfection.
Yeah, right.
We'll get to night 3.
Hey, you got this for a second. I gotta put this guy out real quick.
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead. Take your time.
I killed my motherfucking homie, y'all. Bogus was him. Hey, let a rock hit me. They're gonna touch me.
Take a moment, guys. Like the video. We're watching on YouTube and Facebook, both at the same time. Mercado Media and CJ TV. Snack Squad on YouTube. Who is all here watching this night in Kenosha, Wisconsin? This had to be the 23rd of August. This is the 23rd. This is the first night. This is when it started. We are covering the trial again tomorrow. Excuse me. For my platforms, they are scheduled already. Both of the on YouTube and Facebook, both of the trial streams are scheduled. Well, I have any other questions you guys might have. Hey, Svay, I see you. Everybody on my platforms, real quick, and check in. Comment where you're tuning in from. Hey, Paul, I see you. Michelle, I got all the chats up. Hello. You were watching, Char. Welcome. We got 100 watching on YouTube, 151 on Facebook. I see you. This is live. You guys are watching a live feed of me and CJ talking, but we're watching old footage. We're just going through. This is like the time we can do that. I didn't know when else we could fit in time to really go through our experience and talk about this. And it's hard when the trial is going on because you got to talk about the substance of the trial that day. And like and on my platforms, I pull up supplemental footage that I have from that topic that they're talking about in the courtroom. So it's really hard to talk about, personal experiences and what I was feeling and emotions and what it was like from the beginning to the end during the trial because it's so focused on that third night. Hey, Kid Drift. How you doing? Good to checking in. You're watching from New Jersey. Hey, Kelly. You watched all 3 nights. My son and his family lived in Kenosha at the time. Thank you so much, Trish. Thank you. So the police they started advancing up. That person just got tagged with pepper balls. I got too close. But the thing is, at the same time, in these situations, at least for me, I like to make myself identifiable. So like I'm in a very visible position for the police to not like target me. So that way they know I'm just filming. So like I'll raise my hands, I'll be like, hey, like I'll raise my badge up so they can read it because they got the lights shining right there. And it's good to try to be, for me, I like to be in try to be in around one spot so they don't have to be like, who's that moving? Because every time they see movement, they're going to look over you and they're going to keep looking at you if you keep moving.
Yeah, I agree.
Welcome back.
Yeah, right. Thanks. It's nuts when you've got You got people around you. That's the other thing is like spatial awareness is a big deal when you're in these situations because you've got so many people that are. Did you just burp in the mic?
For me?
Yeah.
No. I think no. I hit it with my hand. I'm sorry.
Oh,
there you go.
I was like, man, that was like what was belch the other day. You just like belched into the mic.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway,
belch.
But is that you have to Sue? Yeah, we've talked to Corey. You got to really keep your head on a swivel because it's not just getting shot at. Like, so these are all impact rounds that I got hit with by the police, right? By law enforcement. I have a whole bucket of these things, like these sandbags, these impact rounds, like these batons. That's coming from one side of the crowd, right? So you got that coming at you one direction because you're a figure in dark clothes, whatever it might be. And then from the other side, you got people that are further back that are throwing things at the law enforcement and they maybe don't have the best of arms. And so those are falling short. So you've got people that are like short tossing, hitting you in the back with items. Then you have people that are aiming for you because you're a dark figured item or person. Or maybe they just don't like press, they don't like media, they don't like whatever. Maybe they just don't like the way you look. But so you're getting it from all sides. So there's spatial awareness. You really have to have your head on swivel. You got to be able to move around a little bit and keep yourself protected.
Situational awareness.
Situational awareness. Well played. That's the one.
So
and yes, please share the stream on both sides, guys. If you're on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, and Drew's feed, or that actually right there. So those are the.
Yeah, I was going to go back. Yeah. Yep. Right there we go. I'm about to roll up on one. Is that what you want to talk about? You want me to pull it up a little bit more? I think I hold up my hand.
When we were talking about when someone picked one of those up, like at one point, there's a video that I have of one of those that rolled across that tarmac right there, like across like the tar right there. You know the asphalt ceiling, and all of that had melted completely, like it just shooting out hot fire. And we watched that in Portland, where they would throw flashbangs and tear gas canisters into these tents, and the tents would combust and they'd catch on fire because those things are kicking out, tons of fire. And it was crazy because they're incendiary devices or something, and it's kicking out tear gas at the same time as lighting things on fire, which is
it's an incendiary and it's got some.
It's scary, man. For anybody that's never been in these situations, it is scary.
It's smoke.
You can see. So what you're seeing on there, that black on the top of it, is where it rolled across the rubber, and it was so hot that it melted the asphalt ceiling into the can.
Mm-hmm. Very hot to grab and with your hand if you were to try. I would not recommend.
Stop killing us, man. Don't cut that shit out. You're gonna do your job the right fucking way, or we're gonna defund this shit. We're gonna defund all this shit, all of it. Your pension, every fucking thing. You had a fucking enough. That's what I was saying over there. Don't get in the media doing that press conference and tell how we were doing this, but you're gonna forget about the whole true story of how we got to this point in history right here, right now. And that's the biggest mistake, because you start out lying by telling half of the story. The whole story is you cooked the unarmed black man in the back today. That's the whole story. And he ain't the first, but he's gonna be the last. And that's why we here. He got to be the last. He will be the last. He will be. No. Listen to me. Don't worry about what they're doing. We need to have a conversation. You got to stop killing us in the street.
Man, it's tough, man, because you see this, right? And you can feel the anger, right? You can feel the raw emotion. And where I would love, man, is I would love, and I've been trying to make it happen. It's just getting people to be willing to sit at the table, but to get these different groups together and have them sit down at a table together and actually air your grievances, share your piece and look at what can possibly collectively be done to make change. Because we talked about, defund the police, and there was a certain dollar amount. In Seattle, we have like a $450 million budget for our police department. So they were saying we want to defeat them by at least half, right? So
I can kill a Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Never defunded the police.
They said in Seattle they were going to defund the police. They said they were going. They had the votes lined up.
Never happened.
Everyone was ready to go, and then they turned it the night before the vote.
Never
but
happened.
Then you got to wonder when you think about things like defunding the police, and then you see things like this where, it's scary. But people need to understand, like, one of the things that the police do have in their possession are things like Bearcats, like as the policeman called it, a tank. And it's kind of like, in situations like this are when those come out, but would situations like this be happening if the police weren't such a force? And that's, I believe that if people are looking at it from like the 10,000 foot view, that's really what one of the big arguments is it's the whole, force before force, who's pushing and agitating and who's not de-escalating. And it really comes down to both parties being willing to walk away. But the issue we have is that a group of people like the one you're seeing out here, they're not a collective. There's no centralized leadership there.
And the other thing too with the defund thing is, even if you talk to, I talk to politicians and people and they'll agree. And they, right after George Floyd was murdered, Minneapolis City Council showed up at the park and was like, we're going to defund the police. And they didn't ask anybody. They didn't ask anybody to say that. They didn't talk to community leaders. They didn't check and make sure like that was the message that was going to be sent. Like They just said that, and then it got taken and ran, and like it just sucks because you see every story, a news story, like out of Minneapolis, you just see these idiots, I don't know what else to call them, like people that don't figure things out for themselves, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They'll be on there, be like, yeah, Minneapolis, that police department defunded. No, it wasn't. Like they were awarded $500,000 last November. Like they earned money, they earned more.
What do you think about the police being?
So for me, in my opinion, if I was a mayor of a police, whatever, I would focus more of that funding into education. So it wouldn't be necessarily like take money away from the police department and be like, ha, gotcha. It'd be like taking money that you see, like you got to check the books, right? You got to check the ledger and see where all the money's being spent, and you got to be like, all right, that money, we don't need that money there. We got to put this money in education. We got to put this money towards skills, put more time into the skills training that they got to go through afterwards, put more time into the classroom, because we learn, what I mean? It doesn't, and for me, it's a reallocation of funds. And
there it is. And I think that's okay. So when people say defund, it's refund. And by that, I mean, rearrange the funding in a way where de-escalation training, proper hand-to-hand combat training, cultural sensitivity training. These are simple. I can't look at that picture right there and not just laugh. Old girl eating Pringles, walking through like, yeah, what else? But anyway, but really, when it came down to, for me, when I see these massive budgets, is there's an opportunity. You talk to police and the ones that are willing to talk about it. Like I talked to one of the gentlemen from the gang task force in Portland, and he was like, no, they have special training, people in his task force, people that work in his department, because it's very specific what they're going to be doing, what the demographic they're going to be working with. Mm-hmm. Where when you're general, and I don't want to say beat cop because I really don't want to be like insulting to to general police department law enforcement officer, the actual training is pretty minimal. You know what I mean? And then you put a gun in someone's hand, and there's a lot of situations that'll happen where they're going to have to ask questions from all these things that have happened. Where was there enough training? Was there not? I don't know. That's a whole bag of snakes.
That is another whole bag. But that's when I think of that. But the narrative that came out of that, the word defunding, man, it just people took that and it was like that means take all the money from the police and like take the police away. And it was voted on in Minneapolis, and it was rejected. They actually voted on replacing Minneapolis Police Department with the Department of Public Safety, and it got denied.
Really?
So, yeah, overwhelmingly, yeah, it got denied. So the Minneapolis Police Department, if anybody's watching Fox News out there or hearing something about Minneapolis police, they're going to remain, and they haven't been defunded. All right, they haven't had their money taken. There's been cops that have quit due to some actions on the force that they did during the riots that we went through. On my platform, we went through a whole body cam footage for 8 hours, and they left for nefarious reasons. But the police department was never defunded. So I hope you know that now, if you didn't know that.
want to ask, I mean, to the viewers right now, what are your thoughts about the officer that shot Jacob Blake returning to the force? That's something that I haven't heard a lot of talk about. And I'm curious.
I haven't heard opinions either. Go ahead, comment. What do you guys think? Because Officer Rustin Chesky, he was brought back on. He's back on the force.
How many years was he with the force before? Do you know? Anyone in the comments that has any details? I mean, we could check that out right now too. Let's see, Officer Rustin. When you saw that written on the side of the building, it said, Rustin Chesky, this is your fault. You know what I mean? And on the side of the DOC building when it was burning down. And I'm just trying to see if I can find detailed on this one. There we go. Okay, so here we go. But it's interesting because that I thought was going to be more of a hot button. I thought for sure that the Officer Chesky going back to work was going to be that was going to be the powder keg.
It kind of just no one. Yeah, it didn't.
Sorry, and I got to look at the comments here to see what people think. Some people are saying that he'll never have his life back or his family. You see, they went to remove their police wall rights. We're not just saying.
Gradually,
some people are saying he did his job. Yeah, okay. So some people are saying he did his job. Some people are saying he should have never been put back on the force. He was quick to shoot, and why keep shooting? Said Kelly Bradbury. Someone, Amber Jungle says, I'm fine with it. I believe he did what he had to do under the circumstances.
So some of mine, we got April. He should not be a cop. We got,
respect that. Blake Strip says my thoughts can't simply be explained to the comments. I get that.
Yeah. We got the people in support and against, as most of our chats are. But most of my chats are a mixture of people that have a bunch of different thoughts on things. So
I would hope, man. I would hope everyone here does.
I couldn't imagine it. It's tough though sometimes trying to keep that open line for everybody to talk in there sometimes. It's like, man, you gotta shut the chat off sometimes.
For real. Michael Murray says 7 shots was too much. Someone
we got Alicia says cowards shoot people, so the shots in the back. So people are saying you should not be a cop.
Right. That is an interesting thought, an interesting point that some people, and this is when we were planning on making this trip, right? Mm-hmm. I had planned for us to stop in Detroit. We had there's a Blue Devil Jiu-Jitsu out there, a good friend of mine from Seattle area, lives out there, known from the MMA world, and he's in the MMA world now. So, but one of the things I want to talk about was hand-to-hand combat and proper hand-to-hand combat training when it comes to body control and some of the things that could take place up to and precluding, if I'm using the term properly, pulling a lethal weapon, which is what a gun is. They have less lethal rounds. You've got your tasers, you've got your pepper sprays, there's all those things. So I have this video right here pulled up too that we can. So this is like the march had made its way back to.
Man, it already looks like a straight up recycling bin out here in front of these police. Some rocks are getting thrown. If any of these people in front here don't have helmets on, they need to back up because those are, they're gonna get hurt. Legit gonna get hurt.
And that's what we were.
You guys normally I'd be right up front, but I don't have a helmet with me. Didn't get a chance to pack it with myself from Seattle. So
helmet, no gas mask.
This group back here is just growing and growing and growing.
Tabitha, what's up from Detroit?
Yeah, we're good.
But yeah, so the crowd got a lot bigger, right? So this is in front of the courthouse, and you can see they're launching tear gas into the crowd, deep into the crowd.
Oh, they're shooting out of the turret up top.
But man, easy to see. You've got rocks, bottles, everything.
Bottles of water.
Yeah. I remember
lots of bottles.
I found a pipe bomb in the grass right here in front of the courthouse, like a legit pipe bomb. Like it was a piece of metal pipe that the ends had blown out instead of it blowing up. It's crazy. Yeah, no, I'm not saying
this was the first night.
No, I believe this was night 2. Yeah, this has got to be night 2.
Okay, so you jumped up a little bit. Okay.
I think I might have. You see, this guy got hit by something. The officer will go up the steps right there. The actual date on this one is 8/24.
So not a lot of people got the leaf blowers
that's
out
night. That's night 2. So this is the second night.
By now.
But we were talking about in the first night how they're going to form a perimeter around the building. They kind of started doing that. You know what I mean? They started, and you see like they just threw something lit in front of the police, like little bombs. They're throwing like little explosive devices, and they're trying to like drop their shields in and protect their legs. But
hey, I got a super chat, CJ, for on my channel real quick. What happened to the American flag that we rescued?
I would imagine the American flag got decommissioned and put probably in a trunk somewhere because the flag laws. I know you know whatever the rule.
Here, hit the
pause that. I can turn the volume off on that one. Leave that play in the background like that. So yeah, we gave it. Okay, so the flag gave back to the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars, and it turned into a little bit of a push-pull situation with the owner. Yeah, so simply said, it made it back to Kenosha. The flag made its way back to the city of Kenosha in some way, shape, or form, and that's where it ended up, and it's where it should have been. And the flag was a big deal because it represented. Like I said, like when I saw it fall, it really was just kind of like a part of my heart dropped because it felt like we were watching in that city, like the whole country on fire, you know, because like I said earlier, it just felt like what we were seeing in this small town in middle America had to be happening on a macro scale all over the country, you know, but we weren't really in contact with, I don't know if you were, Andrew, but I know for me, like we were just barely focused on what we were seeing in front of us, let alone what was happening back home or, you know, back in Seattle or back in Minneapolis or what was happening in DC or Florida or Texas. But I just assumed, I was like, this is what's going on. The country's in chaos right now. That's what I
so back to the flag thing, you know, I mean, in my opinion, so I was a little upset with what happened with the flag because, you know, I mean, I fought for that flag, you know what I mean? Like people can call me this like Antifa terrorist, you know, whatever the hell, you know what I mean? But I still fought for this country. You know, I spent time overseas. I was deployed to the Middle East. Like I wore this uniform for years, you know what I mean? And I earned everything that I've gotten on it. And so I'm having a PTSD moment. What was the topic at the beginning? Shit.
The flag. We were just talking about
the flag. Thank you so much. You brought me back. You know about that shit. So, you know, I fought for that flag. And so I was upset because I had contacted the VFW to give it to, or we had tried to work out to give it to the Veterans of Foreign Wars to give it back to the city of Kenosha. Like I was like adamant on giving it back to the city of Kenosha. Like I wanted that to happen so bad. Like, hey, this is what you guys like. This is the one thing we can give back from our time there. And the owner of that building, the owner of the corrections office, like didn't let it happen. Like that's the truth. The owner of that building took that flag. That the owner of the building took it back. So the city.
To be fair, it is
their building.
Flag.
It is
their building and their flag.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, I don't want to throw too much shade on anybody because it was muddled, you guys. It was very muddled. The deputy mayor we had all these people that were involved, and it got to be a point where it was just like, listen.
I had emotional attachment to it. It was tough to just let go for me. Like it was so
absolutely
hard. It was so hard for me to just be like, all right, you know, you win. You know what I mean? Like you can have it. But it did. It turned into something that me and CJ did not want to deal with. Like we did not want to, you know, like it was just like so politic and just like people, this person needed this flag and they needed it for this reason. And it was just like we just went through this big event and whatnot. Like we want to like just do the right thing. And then it just got to the point where it's like, okay, you know what I mean? Like we did what we tried. We tried to do the best we could and decisions were made and life goes on.
We were still in the middle of it all. So like, I know literally. That like when like I said, I talked to the deputy mayor's office and it was just one of those things where I know finally, like, I know me personally, like when I was like, got down to the nitty gritty of it, I was like, listen, I don't want to be involved anymore with, I want you to have it. The city should take it. You guys figure out where it would be best put. And I would hope moving forward that that's going to be, you know, it'd be great if it got put into a public display somewhere, because I know it represents something for anybody that watched it that night. I know for me, when it happened, it was a huge representation of something that was happening in my heart, in my soul. And anyway,
I'll carry salt with that for me forever. I will, but I get it though. I get it. We did the best we could. I got to just, for me, I've just accepted. It's still like it's just a soft subject for me, because I'm just so like, that owner could have did, like, you know what I mean? Like, just because I feel a certain way does not mean that owner had to do how I felt. You know what I mean? That owner probably just was like, hey, that's my flag. Like, that is their flag. Like, they own that building. They own that corrections building 100%. You know what? But it's hard when you're so emotionally connected to that. And you're like, damn, like, you would be so, like you just said, put it in the museum. Like, that's like a representation of like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's the screensaver, that flag, like with the fire behind it. Like, it's my screensaver on the, it's right behind us right here. There it is. That's the flag.
I put it on the boom. It's
you just hide the area. I'll do it. I'll stop screen. I got it.
There we go. So then we just go over to here, folks. So then I can do this one.
So we did. I mean, it's behind
this
us.
flag right here.
Yeah, the flag behind us. So at the end of the day, we did the best we could. We did. We did everything we were supposed to, and we gave it back to the people that were supposed to have it, and that's it. And it was becoming stressful, and I get it. Like, it was just like becoming a headache that like we didn't want to deal with, and just I know I didn't want to deal with it. Like, it was beyond that. I was pissed, but at the same time I was like, man, we got other things to like handle, and it's like, damn, I just wish they could I just wish it didn't get politicky or like grimy with the flag thing. It just did.
And it really did, which is unfortunate, because it's the American flag, And I like I said, people can say what they want about anything. I mean, but you want to categorize people, that's fine. But I rep for the country. I bleed red, white, and blue, like 100%. I believe in the foundation of our nation, and I do believe 100% moving into this, as I'm saying this, that there's room for change. And I know that we're growing still. We're young. We're a young country, and we have a lot of room to grow. And that's, as far as into that as I'm going to go, because I know that we all can agree on that. But people feel like that it needs to happen in one specific area more than the other. And again, that's an individual viewpoint. So, but as a collective, as a people, I believe that we're a beautiful nation of opportunity, and we have a great opportunity here to grow into something that can be a beacon to the world for.
All right, I got the next generations part of the night. I got the next part of the night
for night one.
For night one, yes.
Okay, because I'm still on night 2 over here, so I can.
You want to jump up into night 2?
No, we can tap into night 1 a little bit further.
So like night 1, I was just, the only thing left from night 1 that I wanted to show was the church fire and the car parking lot. And I actually have your footage and mine like in one video that your sister gave. So just pull up the Bradford church fire tab.
Who, me?
Yeah, on your end.
The Bradford church fire tab. You think it's in tab that says
it's in the top. It's in the, so hit the share button, and then it's I got Mercado Media reporting, but there you go. Make that easier.
We got burning cars, fires, house, police station, what is it? So much to look at over here, guys. So much footage. Actually, I think that would be sitting right here. It's the same place as Andrew. Queued up. That's me looking for Andrew. Trying to find Andrew. Yeah, where did Andrew go?
How you doing, guys? Check into the stream. Comment. Say what's up.
That was right before the shooting. So, yeah, if you have the church,
it's good. Yeah, it's pulled up.
Oh, you load it? Oh,
yep. You just got to add it to the stream.
Well, there we go.
There you go. Cool beans.
Uncharted territory right here with
so this is you.
Fires and oh, the restaurant's back on fire. Hey, Drew.
Hey, CJ, we're getting requests to have it go to the side again. Our cameras.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
there you go. Yep, too easy. All right, cool.
All right. I got you.
Hell yeah.
The structure fire.
So again, this is CJ's footage from that night right now. So you're watching CJ's perspective right now.
So this is one of those structure fires we were talking about right here.
Yeah, it was
right next door to this karate dojo
from the
that the woman was out in front protecting. She was out just, I think she got pepper sprayed or.
But as we're watching this, I encourage you. Could you turn the volume down on the video? Actually, I can mute it, but I can't do it. But so this is that Italian restaurant.
I don't know what kind of business this was before, but
it was an Italian restaurant. Any questions that are coming up? I know somebody just said
it was an Italian. It was an Italian restaurant.
It was an Italian restaurant, yeah.
What?
Someone says, no, I hate the smaller video. I go. Yeah. So you guys, we really would love to have any questions that you have you're looking to get answered. Please feel free to ask them. And I apologize if we don't get to all of them or see all of them. We're there's a lot of platforms we're going through right now.
This is everywhere.
So
somebody said in the chat, trusting CJ with the technologies is dangerous business.
I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay, man. I'm not as bad as I was. I'm doing better. But Mangia, yeah, there you go. Kathy, thank you for that.
It was called Mangia. It was out of business. That's what I got in my chat.
Yeah.
Tell them to tune in to CJ TV or Mercado Media.
And this is where you're at right now. And so the car lot, it was crazy because if you remember when it started, man, I have that video over here where it was just one car, and we were saying like, man, if they don't put that car out, it's gonna spread. And there was that front right car there by the under the sign, and yeah, Jackie Cox. This is the first time we've ever sat down and watched this footage together. Pulling down Leslie, I do have footage from when they were pulling down the street lights, actually. And that's in.
And so I gotta respond to some of my own comments too that are coming.
Go ahead.
So real quick while you're doing that. So Robert says, Andy Mercado, why are you so biased against Kyle Rittenhouse? You have him as guilty before you have even heard the trial as evidence, and that's not true. I have an emotional feeling about that night, and like my emotions, and like I will for the rest of my life be like, that kid should not have been there with his gun. With that being said, he was there, and he was there. We were all there too. And so just because I have my feelings and emotions towards something, I have my right to feel that way. I have my right to my opinion. But we're watching the court and we're watching it happen and play out live. Like, I don't know what you mean. Like, I can have my thoughts and opinions, and then we're watching the court of law play out. So I can be wrong, or I can see new evidence that I haven't seen before. Like, I didn't know Rosenbaum had reached out until we had slowed it down and zoomed in and see that his arm reached out. So that's a new perspective that I learned. And I'm never too good to change my perspective or to learn something new or to be wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I have my opinions just as you have your opinions. And when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I say I'm wrong. You know what I mean? I don't know what else to tell you. You can call me biased all you want, but like when I'm wrong, I'll tell you I'm wrong. Just because I feel a certain way doesn't mean I'm always right. You feel a certain way you feel, and you might be wrong sometimes too.
Do you think your view has changed on the case?
Yes, I thought yes, absolutely, yes, it has changed. Like they charged him with first degree, and I think like, and just the way that the prosecution is trying this case, the way that the jury selection was, it's just I think the prosecution's throwing it. They're like, it was hard to believe that those are prosecution witnesses last week. It was like, dude,
I don't think prosecution called a single witness that has actually been official for prosecution.
Literally none, not a single one. And then and saying that with my emotions and how I feel about how I feel being out there, I can still tell you that their prosecution's sucking right now. Like, they're doing terrible trying to prove the case. And it is what it is.
Let me ask you this, because this is kind of what I'm leaning on. It feels like prosecution knows that this is an L. Like, they're going to take a loss on this. I feel like they know that the highest, criminal offense, life sentence, yielding offense, they're not going to get. And I think that they're kind of at a point now where it's like, let's mitigate our losses on the loss that we're taking and see what else we can pick up along the way, which is why people like Dominic Black, who got the gun for Kyle Rittenhouse, I can see him definitely getting tagged with his charges.
There will be other trials. Dominic Black is.
There's plenty to come. You know what I mean? And I mean, even I don't know if Gage is
He testifies tomorrow.
So that'll be a big one, you guys. Stay tuned. Gage Grosswood's
on CJTV and Mercado Media. Make sure you tune in. Like, we'll be live at 9 a.m. Gage's testimonies tomorrow.
Yeah, which will be, I mean, if prosecution has their way with it, he'll be on the stand for 4 days. But and
we'll have to pick apart their statements too, because that's the other thing. It's like they're putting up witnesses, and it's like they're saying so many things that are like not true, or we can like prove that they're lying to us, or like they're leaving things out, or they're like and it's just like, dude, these are prosecution witnesses? It's not going well. It's not going well at all.
Right. And then, like I said, like that's what I kind of feel like they just are. I think prosecution knows that it's a loss, because I mean, there's no way that you, as the ADA, the assistant district attorney, you have the skill set to litigate a case, that you could be doing such a bad job of it. To me, is almost just like you're kind of almost going through the motions at that point. You know, like someone was saying, like he's just collecting his hourly pay. That picture right there, I mean, that says a lot. That for anybody that was asking, just to jump back over here, for anybody that was asking, like what, like you were asking, like what you were feeling, like this view right here. Can you turn the volume up on all that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
This is still your video right here too.
Right. If you guys
again, I want to make it clear that there's a church.
You hear cars exploding, tires exploding, like,
and that fire thing.
I mean, if that doesn't blow your mind, just seeing that. I'm gonna go to this right here.
The fire's kissing it.
Where else in the world? Like I said, where else? Where have you ever been? And I'm asking people in the comments, have you ever been in a situation where you've ever seen anything like this in person? Because I know for me, I had never been around this kind of like destruction. I mean,
unfortunately, I had. You know, I had been in Minneapolis. So, but the thing is, though, and again, I was in a position I had talked about earlier where we had to break a window to try to save a cat and like step in, or like there was a situation in Minneapolis. It was getting close to the Midtown Exchange building, and it was like an apartment building, and there was people putting up signs that said like, you know, families and kids live in here. And so I put my camera down and just help put signs up and things like that, where like you prevent, you know, it from getting into like an area like a church or like where people live or a house. Like that's where I've stepped in to stop. But like, you know, when you see things like this, it's hard not to, and especially when you're the only one there and there's no help around. Yeah. I'm gonna turn it up so they can hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, hey, anybody watching the stream, I don't know if anybody else can see. If you want to let the fire department, call the fire department, whatever they need to do, let them know that this church behind the police station or behind the car dealership is spread to this church. And if they want to come down here, they need to get their asses in gear and pull up a truck and start putting some water between these two buildings. Otherwise, you're going to have this church burned down, and then with 15 minutes, that thing's going to be on fire, without a doubt.
I was just saying the same thing.
Call the fire department.
Call the fucking fire department. If you're watching and you're in Kenosha, please call.
Tell them right now, if you guys are on stream and you're in Kenosha, right behind this car pros, whatever the name of this joint is, let them know, if they don't know already, that this fire is now spreading to this church behind them. We need to be.
That just, damn, you guys, and I mean, the video doesn't do near the justice to appreciate just how incredibly.
No, it was like a motion sensor.
When those cars explode, like, it's so incredibly loud. And I'm saying, someone asked if what I thought was worse was Portland or Kenosha. And Portland was just nonstop, where Kenosha was like, I don't know. Portland, I don't know the best way to describe it. Portland was like watching a series of very uncomfortable videos, when Kenosha was like that one that just popped up that makes you jump, like, holy shit, that just happened type thing. Like it was shocking. Portland was very uncomfortable. And Kenosha was just,
I would agree with that. Yeah, Portland was just uncomfortable. Like you were like, because there's people in the crowd that are so focused on you, and there's, you know,
you see what's happening over here? Like that's the debris. So At this point, I'm on the front porch of the church. Like we were banging on windows and doors trying to get people out of the church because I thought maybe it was a shelter for
Shovels?
or maybe there's a priest that stays there. I don't really know how a lot of clergy.
You know if anybody stays in this church?
But you can see the embers falling into the yard, like coming down, just like raining down into the parking lot and into the yard of the church.
Just in case it starts burning in the grass on the way over, we want to get that put out so it doesn't like trickle in.
And so the idea here was just to throw dirt on some of the embers that were starting to get close to the grass where the church was.
Yeah. Because there's that tree, remember, that was like right there.
The tree was like touching, the top of the tree was touching the church.
Right. And then the grass was on fire in front of the tree. It started to burn to the base of the tree.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, there was Kelly Bradbury says because there was lights in the basement. Yeah, we saw the lights and we're like, oh man, there might be people down there. I thought
you can ban Arthur.
Did you come take this?
I thought that I had seen a light turn on while this was happening.
It's too hot over there. I don't know what's going on. You can bend those up.
All right, so now this switches to my footage now because you handed off your feed.
Fuck.
Yeah.
God damn it. Ah.
It was so loud. It hurt. Like you could feel like the aftershock go through you.
Yeah.
So like I don't know, it was so weird or it's such a different feeling.
It was surreal, man. No, this whole thing was very surreal. Like Kelly Welker, you said it right. Yeah, it's hard to watch. It is crazy to watch. Like because the best way that I can describe when anyone asks, like, you know what it was when you asked the emotion that I felt when I was watching this, not at that moment, but later on, helpless. I just felt helpless. Like there was nothing I could do to change anything. Like what was happening was completely out of the control of people, and it was like a mob was going to go ahead and dictate what was going to happen in the city of Kenosha that night. And I felt helpless watching buildings burn all around you. And at one point, I was standing across from the furniture store. And I had, like I said this before.
CJ, I think so.
But you had the furniture store in front of me burning. There was the DOC building beside. There was the car fires behind, and then you had the behind that was another fire.
You're the church.
And
the church.
I just put my feet down at one point, and I was looking around. Those cars are exploding, buildings are burning, and I was like, I can't do anything here, man. Like I put my feet down and cried for a little bit, man. I just felt like there was nothing I could do. Like I had no control. And there's not many points in my life where I've ever felt that way. Like there's very few times. I'm always spatially aware that we're talking about. I'm pretty much like I take charge of my life, man.
And that's a normal human reaction to something like this, though, is to feel helpless, and then the emotions that come attached with it. But when you see, you gotta through time, you gotta cope with it and understand, like, hey, in that moment, we really did the best you could. You did more than what was asked of you. I mean, nobody asked either of us to do this right here. No one. The people that are so like most people were like yelling at us like to get away from there. Like look at these two trying to LARP as firefighters, and like they didn't understand the situation. Like there was no help. There was nothing. There was nothing you could do. So we just did what we could in that situation with like what we had, and it was shovels and some dirt to try to throw some dirt on the fire.
Yeah, and got the rain barrel over here.
And the rain barrel to try to saturate the grass with water until the fire department came.
What you said is pretty telling. Not telling, but I think it could very well play into what happens in the case where, like what you just said is like you do the best you can with what you have in a situation that you can't control. And you look at people like Kyle Rittenhouse and other people that are in these situations.
Nope. Get out.
Said nope.
I was trying to get you out of there the entire time.
Yeah, I know. You get pretty bullheaded in situations.
Dude, just a little bit.
Yeah, right.
I gotta put a child leash on you.
Just the hypo. Yeah.
Oh, okay. When I get CJ's getting too far, right?
Yeah, right.
Three tugs.
Hit the retract button.
Back.
Mr. Nobody on Twitch. What organization are we for?
Himself.
CJTV Media is myself. Andrew Mercado is Mercado Media. We both are independent.
Work for ourselves.
How do you like
nobody owns us. We don't have a company that pays us.
Yeah. We are viewer funded, and that's why it's important for both of us to have you guys set up subscriptions on Facebook and YouTube, Twitch, and the stars and all those things that come in, the super chats. They all go directly into the funding our ability to go out and cover events like this, and not events, but situations like this, and hopefully never again something like this. But yeah.
Is it water?
So this is when we like tried to grab something, like you saw a water source, because there was so much brush and grass that would, and that's all wooden shit right there. Sorry, pardon my language, but it's all wooden, like a wooden shed right there. So if that fire would have gotten into the grass, it would have started at least the base of the church on fire.
Well, like, and I'm not a fire expert. I just know that when I saw it, I was like, shit, dude. Like, I got part of my language as well. I was so crazy how loud that is. Like how those cars just.
Yes. It's gonna.
But I was trying to siphon water out of the hose, hoping that I'd get enough.
The tree is right here. If it touches the tree, it's gonna touch the building.
And we had one of the fire marshal or whatever his capacity is in the fire department.
Any water out of there at all?
And he was trying to help out or trying to get an assessment of the situation at the time.
So right here too, and people, the fire chief actually did come and ask us about the situation right here. So we did the best we could again until.
The tree is right here. If it touches the tree, it's gonna touch the building. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, there we go. So we just tried to get the attention of the fire department.
Yeah.
Hey, chief.
And good looking out, Barry. Appreciate you, even though you're freaking Barry, man.
Hey, that parking lot is open.
And then that's when I just started rolling that rain barrel there, trying to get the ground as wet as possible. It's funny, I think someone said they're like, "Oh, he's dumping gas on the lawn," and I was like,
Watch the spark, CJ. All right, watch the spark, CJ. Pour the water, yeah. Just get it wet. Get it wet.
Like your armchair cord back. Keep rolling the barrel.
Pull it back. Just grab it by the hose. Hey, grab it by the cord. There you go.
You're like a bull in this. Like you don't.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I gotta repeat things a few times because when you're in that go mode, it's just you're just going.
Yeah.
Had to come back out for some air. Very hard to breathe right there. Very difficult in that spot.
Yeah.
I don't see another water source. Where the fuck?
Yeah, you couldn't. The smoke was so thick back there. You can hear you're choking on things like there.
There's no water in there.
Kelly Welker says, "So Andrew, sometimes you do get involved." There you go. Like your conscience pulled you and said, "Hey, time to be involved."
That's what I talked about. I brought that up when I did that in Minneapolis. When I started. There's multiple times where I had to put the camera down or assist in a situation like this.
Honestly, legit, that's straight adrenaline. I don't know how I picked that barrel up. That thing had a lot of water in it.
Yeah, it was
50-gallon rain barrel. Yeah,
very heavy water bottle or very heavy water bucket.
Someone says, I heard the scanner call for a guy in a black sweatshirt with a logo on it with red gas can starting fires. An officer comes over the radio and says that CJ's a streamer and he's on our side.
Is there any more water in the bucket?
Yeah, a lot of people are saying they watch this happen live in both of our feeds. Yeah, good night, Steve. I was trying to break open the lock on that to see if we could get into the if there was something in there we could use to fight the fire.
Yes, the church did recognize us. I got to tour the inside of the church and whatnot in the days following.
So then you had people from the city that came out. They were great, man.
Yeah.
Handed off water and.
My chest hurts so bad, dude. Yeah. My chest hurts so bad.
Bradford Community Church right there.
Yeah.
Man.
How do I go back now?
I got you. That's wild,
right,
man.
So that's and then the rest of the morning, from then on, we had just kind of filmed the remaining fires, and we went out to that spot.
Yeah. Man.
There's a part 3.
Oh, is it? And to be clear, Mr. Nobody 4069 on Twitch. So when it says, "Are you trying to become a witness for Kyle?" In these situations, and I'm not trying to talk down to anybody. Please don't think that's when you're a witness, you're just a witness. You're not for anybody. And that's I think where things change when you become a witness, depending on who you're called for or whatever. But the second you hit the stand, your testimony is supposed to be as sworn, honest to the best of your recollection, regardless of whom it might benefit, prosecution or defense. So I am on the witness list after speaking with the investigator the other day, as I'm pretty sure Andrew's got to be on there as well. I think, like I said, the witness list was like 200 people long, and there was a lot of us out there that were filming. So that being said, that was when you're testifying, you're testifying on behalf of the case, and it's not for any one person. And if you are, then you have to wonder if your answers are coming from a truthful place. And I would hope that if put on the stand, anybody would look at it from like what happened on Friday. You just want to see people tell the truth, man. Just tell the truth. And
so Shar asked about being subpoenaed. Neither of us were subpoenaed.
No, on the list, but not subpoenaed yet.
Right. And Robert on my feed says earlier you said you stand with the rioters. I have never said that. I'm not sure that's your interpretation of something. I've never said rioters.
No, I don't think anybody really does. I don't think the people that are in a riot, I think that they don't consider themselves part of the rioter until they're involved.
I understand. So the difference is I understand the purpose of like the movement.
Sure.
And I can call out when it's getting to a point, but again, it's not my place to do that. Like you guys think it's like my place to step, not you guys, but people that think this, it's not my place to police the protest or like to, hey, stop. Like I'm not a cop. I'm not a law enforcement. I'm there to film and I'm not there to police how people express themselves. And clearly there's opportunists and people that take advantage of situations and take it beyond the level of what even just like the activists there or like the community leaders are asking for. They'll go above and beyond and do things in contrast to what's being asked of them. And I don't stand with that at all. But at the same time, it's not my job to police that. I'll film it, but I'm not going to sit there and police it. I'm not police.
I got grief in DC when there was that Proud Boy Antifa brawl and they were going at it in the street because they were like, oh, you didn't stop this, you didn't stop that. And I was like, well, I didn't fly across country, literally from Seattle to DC to be security for the event. And these events were two groups of people that wanted to beat the crap out of each other. And then they finally found each other in the streets and they proceeded to beat the crap out of each other. But when I needed to help out, I did. Like when someone was getting stomped out, like on the ground, like I stepped in and picked people up. My sister stepped in and picked people up off the ground because in the rules of combat and my ethos, like if you're going to knuckle up with somebody, do it. Handle your business and shake hands and be done with it. It's a brush up and that's what should be done. You shouldn't, if you get beat, like, hey man, well done. Be done with it. But use your words first, right? Use your words. But again, it's not my job to be security at an event, though your ethos, like I said, your personal belief system will step up and you'll be involved when I think you're compelled to be involved. And I would hope that there's like a moral aspect that'll take you in that direction, which is what I think what Andrew, they're talking about with you as well right now is like, at some point, no matter what you might have said before, you're allowed to change your views and opinions. You're allowed to change your mind. And I think for me personally, I celebrate almost the fact that I changed my mind. Because I'm not that intelligent. I'm not smart enough to assume that I've got it all figured out. And I don't have all the answers, man. And I keep telling people like, if you're looking to me for answers, then you might have bigger problems than the answer you're trying to find. But jokes aside though, like I came out here originally just to get answers for myself because I didn't know. I was curious and I'd write things down on index cards before I go live. And because there were questions that people had asked the day before, and I'd find people as I walk around with my microphone to interview, like, hey, what is, and could you explain and tell me about, and I would go that route with it. And then I think as the stream world progressed into what it is now over the course of the last 2 years, not that it wasn't before, but Mary Shevlin, thank you for that super sticker over there on YouTube. I appreciate the contribution. Thank you so much.
I got some B-roll footage of of like our morning the next day grilling.
Oh man, we'll have to pull that up here in a second. Yeah, but just to cap that, like I'll add that to the stream here just a moment. But what happened is I think that people saw us out there as actively involved in immersed in the events that were taking place. And like I said, people attach themselves vicariously through what we're viewing with our cameras and with our feet as we walk. They feel like there's kind of like the virtual reality aspect where they're there with us. And so there's a personal belief of what they would have done or what they feel like we should do because it's what they would want to do in that moment. And you can't fault, I don't fault people for being upset when I don't do what they would have done, or I don't say what they would have said, or respond in a way that they would have responded. But it really just comes down to understanding that like we're out there as an individual doing what we feel best for us to do in the acts of what we're trying to accomplish, which is to be the eyes and ears of the people, which is what I really, like I said, my goal is to help find change, man. Like I really hope that in the course of all this madness that we've gone through and all the, now blood-soaked streets and burnt down buildings across the nation, that we'll find a way to make a change. That will collectively, all of this will add up to something other than just a dark mark in the history of America that we look back on and say, holy shit.
Are you going to write a book someday?
I would like to, man. I don't know if I have the patience for it though. You know what I mean? Like
I would just like set up text to speech and then just go. Close your eyes. And just close your eyes. So no shit, there I was. Seattle, Washington. I was in the chop zone.
One city. Yeah, it was the chop. Yeah, hey, throw up that B-roll though, man. You're kind of zooming through it. Yeah, this is look at the baby face, bro.
I know. I had no facial hair at the time.
Dude, now you're rocking that, that $1 million mustache, bro. Okay, I'm gonna have this turn here.
Look at that. That was after the church fire and everything.
What's crazy is if you look at how dirty we are, just man, pause that real fast, right there.
I gotta go back a little bit. Pause. Dude,
shout out to Kenosha, man. For real, what an amazingly beautiful city. Dude, that place is gorgeous, dog. Like Michigan's beautiful. The old buildings are beautiful. The people are amazing. Like legit, that morning was like walking legit out of a war zone and being like, oh, the sun will rise on another
day. It's important to point out too, as a resident came up to us while we were just standing there and I was like, hey, could you bring your streams over to like the lake and just film the sunrise? Because like
that's right. Yeah. We were filming all the businesses that had been broken into and trying to figure out why some were and some weren't as we walked through downtown. And we made our way to one point up by the tracks, I think. And they're like, hey, this isn't what that was I'm glad you said that, man, because that was a beautiful moment. Someone said, this is not what Kenosha is all about. You need to see the waterfront, really appreciate what Kenosha really is about. And when we went down there, I know, man, I got choked up even thinking about it, like just how. And then we had Karen come up, and it was so emotional, man. She hugged us and was like, "Let me cook you breakfast. Let me at least come to my house and lay down and get out of the madness." We were both covered in soot and we were filthy, all three of us at the time. Mine repping for that. That's fun. And it was crazy, man. It was crazy. And Brando says, let's get to the good stuff. This, for me, Brando on YouTube, is the good stuff. The chaos of it all was nuts. But there is nothing but love for the way that the city responded to the madness of it all, and the community that came out of it, and the beauty of it all was that these people bonded together and built each other up. So, man, beautiful. Anyway, yeah, go ahead and hit tag play on that.
Of course.
Brando, I know where you're at, though. I get you, buddy.
You already know. Very beautiful morning. It was a real good sight to see.
Yeah, dude.
Come on, Facebook. Trying to load up because then this day now, we do manage to go back to bed, right? We do go. We go to sleep for a while.
I think we made it finally back out to the local hotel because we still had a hotel in Chicago. Remember?
Yeah, we did.
All of our stuff was still in Chicago, so we left here. I don't think we went back to Chicago this night. I think we would go back after night 2. But I think we just went and found a hotel here local, and stayed locally. And then we went back the next day or the next morning, I think, and got our gear. Maybe it was later. Dude, I don't even remember, man.
I don't. It's all mixed and matched. I'm trying to. Oh, here we go. All right, so that
well,
same
people just out taking a walk, like their morning walk with the water bottles, like
it was surreal after going through what you went through, and then
surreal, man.
you just see things like this.
Vanessa Salerno asked what I did with the hand picture. It's right there. It's actually right over here. I have it in my with my keepsakes. Yeah.
So then every day, then we'd go back to sleep. You know, we kind of regroup. It takes some time, and then here, pull up my Facebook window, real fast.
Your
on
Facebook window?
Yeah, I'm on the screen share. I got it should say Facebook.
It's not on my side.
Oh, let me try. Oh, I gotta share it.
You have to load the studio.
Yep, I gotta load it up.
We're both collectively trying to manage the studio feed, which is working out a lot better than usual.
Yeah, it's a dual.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I know where you're at with this one. Yeah.
So then during the daytime, you know, we'd be going to McDonald's because everything would close by 4 p.m. So you had to make sure you ate and everything beforehand because we would sleep and like be dead tired. And then in the vehicle every day, I mean, we had interviews to do and whatnot, but like the purge alarm, and you want to pull that up. Yeah, we had this in Minneapolis, but every day we had this before we'd start, and it just kind of be like the signal to when the day would begin.
Yeah. And Mr. Nobody over on Twitch, this is Andrew Mercado from Mercado Media, who has a live stream show as well and was in Kenosha covering the events there just like I was. We actually went to Kenosha together from Chicago, and someone said, oh, wow, you're all the way out in Chicago. Were you covering multiple areas? We were planning on, just to touch on this real fast, driving from Minneapolis, from George Floyd Square in Lake Street, taking a look at that all the way to D.C. for the March on Washington, which was the 57th anniversary of the I Had a Dream speech that took place in the steps of the Lincoln Memorial from Martin Luther King. So we made it as far as Chicago, which, as Andrew said, in his rapid rate of drive, took about 6 hours. And then we got the call that night that Jacob Blake had been shot, and we made our way to Kenosha, and that's where we started our evening. If you watch back to the beginning of this feed, you'll see that. And this is where we got to. So this is when they decided, they declared it a state of emergency. They said it's a state of emergency right now. And this was creepy as hell. The purge alarm, yeah, it's the best way to put it. But this is what it was right here. So it says Kenosha County has.
We just got. Oh. Put it on
this. Can you pause it on that real fast?
Oh yeah.
Oops. Yeah, go back there real fast. So this is the alarm situation that came up. It says Kenosha County has declared a state of emergency curfew for 8 p.m. tonight, August 25th, east of I-94. Citizens need to be off the streets for their safety. The curfew will be enforced until 7 a.m. Man, that was Kelly Welker says my phone was going nuts. Like, I remember, dude, we were at a gas station. I was inside the gas station the first time this went off, and I was getting whatever, like a sandwich or whatever, some Doritos. Well, who knows? And that went off for the first time while we were in the gas station. While I was in the gas station, we were just outside. And I remember watching people all around me. Everyone kind of freaked out and froze, and like kind of everyone looked at their phones, and people were like dropping stuff in the gas station and just bailing, like taking off. And then when I came out to the car, people were dipping out of the gas station here. Is just nuts, man. I had never heard that before. You get that like Amber Alert, but like when you hear it on, 50 phones around you at the same time, that was crazy.
Absolutely. Let me pull up that.
But that was the curfew, and they said for your own safety, stay out of the streets. Yeah. What is it?
So now I got night 2. Night 2 was more destruction. I mean,
yeah.
What do you think? Do you want to do like a part 2 to this discussion?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
That way we don't sleep, because our viewers are asking like, because they're all going to tune into the trial tomorrow.
Everyone's got to be up early for court tomorrow.
Right. So let's go into, we've been talking about night 3 during the trial all week. We'll pick up from night 2 next weekend and do a discussion then.
Or sometime this week we'll jump in. Maybe we'll do a post post trial wrap of what happened there. Well, I mean, I'm sure some of the stuff that's going to be coming up in court, especially with Gage testifying, we could definitely talk about that. That'll be interesting, man. That's been hard for me to watch too. Like, I know, like kind of the way Richie McGinnis, when he was watching the Rosenbaum footage, like seeing the footage of Gage, and when they pulled up my footage from that was really, man. Yeah, I was not expecting it. I was not expecting emotional attachment that I had to. I mean, obviously I did, but.
It's okay to have emotional.
I don't know how to describe it, man. Like
it's okay. It's okay to have emotional attachment. To this thing, man. I mean, I do. Yeah. I'm open about it, and so I try to. The hard part for me is tabling my thoughts and feelings and emotions I have connected to this, watching the trial, and you know what I mean, and seeing the evidence despite how I feel.
Absolutely,
it's hard.
And that really is like what you're saying is what the hallmark of testimony. A witness is, right? Is someone that needs to table your personal feelings and speak to the facts. And I think that's really what we try to do when you're out doing a stream, when you're out covering things, you really try to table your bias as best you can and allow what's happening in front of you to speak for itself. That is difficult sometimes, to be very fair about it, to be fair, because you have personal life experience. It takes you in a direction, and it's hard to, it's hard sometimes to not say something or to do something. I've had plenty of situations where I've had groups of people that are not too friendly with press or media that have tried to accost me. And it's those situations where I'm like, man, the best thing you have going for you right now is that I'm holding this camera. Like, don't let me put this down, because then you just have some dude you just pissed off for no good reason. You made an enemy out of somebody. So, but again, you have your feelings going into things, and try to maintain an unbiased viewpoint, but it's your opinions, no matter what, are going to bleed through at some point. You know what I mean? So,
all right. With that being said, hey, thank you so much for having me on. Thanks, CJ, audience of CJ TV, for having me here and do this discussion that we had.
Yeah, man. I'm glad. It's good having you on, dude. And really, it is cathartic to be able to kind of like walk through this with you, because I know, like I said, we went through a lot of intense days, man. There's a lot of stuff that went down, coast to coast, man. We've seen it from literally, you were out in Portland with us, and you made it up into the CHOP over to DC. We saw some events there, and all the way here back to the middle. So, yeah, man. I tell you what, I'm gonna let you go, and then you can do a wrap with your folks, and then we'll do a wrap with mine. But we'll touch base again tomorrow. Yeah.
Sounds good, buddy.
Mercado, thanks for joining us tonight, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. See you, CJ TV. See you guys
later, Mercado. So yeah, Andrew Mercado there, guys. And Ellie Mae, thank you for those bits over on Twitch. Man, and you guys know that was long in the making. You know what I mean? Andrew and I having a chance to spend some time commiserating and talking. We kind of had gone our own ways for a while, but it's good to see that we do have we have our own experiences. We have our own life that led us to where we are right now, and led us to where we were at the time of the events in Kenosha. And I hope people can appreciate that there's a lot of viewpoints that people pass around, a lot of unbased and just radical nonsense about either one of us, from many different groups of people. But I encourage you at all times to tune in, listen, and formulate your own opinion. And don't be a sheep. Don't fall in line with what other people say and regurgitate the words of other people. Do the research on your own. Take a look. And Andrew made a point, and it's something that I speak to quite a bit. It's okay to change your mind. You know what I mean? You're allowed to say sorry. You're allowed to get to a place in life where you can acknowledge that you don't have all the answers and ask some questions. And instead of assuming that we know everything, what do you say? Seek to understand before you seek to be understood, and be curious, not judgmental. And I think those are the best words that I could possibly leave it on. But I hope that everyone sets themselves up for notifications on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, because we will be live tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard, 9 a.m. Central Time. For everyone that made contributions, stars, bits, super chats, super stickers, thank you so much, you guys. It really means the world to me. We picked up a good number of new subscribers. Become a subscriber. It makes the feed possible, and it helps me forward plan where I'm going to be and what I'm going to be able to do, much like being out in Kenosha here in the coming week. So I love you guys very much, and I appreciate you taking the time to be with me tonight and to hang out with our conversation, and for being as patient as you've always been with me, trying to figure out my technologies and figure out life. So stay tuned for tomorrow, guys. I love you. Love each other. Love yourself. Be good.